Ladies and gentlemen, Pitch Talk proudly presents a full sit-down interview with a level 5 referee operating in Southern Amateur League and more. For 2 years, he was club secretary for a football club in Burnt Oak. In April 2015, he was elected AFA Youth Council Chairman. His aims include having input on development and more.
To ask Darrell a question during our special interview, email pitchtalk@gmail.com and put Darrell David in the subject line. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Coming soon. The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
G-Man.
Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/Pitch Talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution. Well, it's the big show.
Hi, I'm John Sitton here with Gavin, Liam and Jill on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez. Christian Carambeu.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to Pitch Talk,
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
You never know. You won't see it coming, but I promise you'll know. The big show.
Pitch Talk is live on the air. We are live. Yeah, yes, it's Pitch Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And of course, the pitch is where we talk. For the next 3 hours of your life, we want you to join us and talk about football. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website where you can find out about everything Pitch Talk. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become fan, become friend, become member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We are working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will bring you to blogs by yours truly, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle. The G-Man, I think, has a new blog going up very soon, if not up already. I'll let him tell you about that in just a second. Also, blogs. There are a lot more blogs going up as well. We have a segment within a segment debuting tonight. Kenny and Yusuf's London Football Roundup will be debuting tonight. A fortnightly roundup on the London teams. So stick around for that during results and analysis. See how good we are. We try and always bring the new stuff. But it's one of them ones, and it kicks off tonight on this season opener of Pitch Talk Live. Remember, youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of our videos, including Pitch Talk on the road at Hackney Wick FC. Also, Pitch Talk meets Darrell David is coming very, very soon. This Wednesday, the 12th of August, 2015, midnight is the deadline for question submissions. Get your questions in. pitchtalk@gmail.com. Get those questions in as soon as possible. Wednesday, 12th of August 2015 is the cut-off time for question submissions for Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Can't wait to be sitting with him, the chairman of the newly formed Amateur Football Alliance Youth Council, and he's also a referee at amateur and semi-pro level as well. So fantastic stuff. Also, 07535804466 is the mobile number. The mobile is on. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you text us, leave your name at the end of the text so we can give you a shout out. Also, twitter.com/Pitch Talk or @Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. See what we're up to. Now, it is one of them where we are live. And G-Man, would you like to tell the people how your week and weekend's been, and also about that new blog you got coming up as well?
Yes, good evening, Liam. How you doing, bro?
I'm very good. How are
week
you?
and weekends, pretty much like all others, really and truthfully lately. Just been really chilled. Went and watched the little brother. He started up again for just after pre-season. Had their first game, and a nice little victory there for West Ham under-16s against Fulham. So that was quite enjoyable to watch.
Oh, it would have been ironic if it had been against Arsenal's under-16s.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because usually they do play back-to-back games. When I say back-to-back games, I mean the youth squads, generally do play the same team that the Premiership teams are playing, but it just happened to be Fulham this week. But yeah, in saying that, that was probably the most enjoyable part of the weekend. And I would have said Sunday was enjoyable, but a lot of you already know why it wasn't. For some of us out there, but I got to go to the game, which on a sweltering hot summer's day, can't complain. The weather was beautiful, and yeah, like Liam said, I've got a new blog, which I have put out, but we haven't started tweeting, so that will be tweeted after the show. And it's basically just a sort of my own blog / match reports, which I will be doing as I go into this season of going to the home matches.
Good stuff. Can't wait to see it as well. Cannot wait to see those blogs there, baby. It is one. That was pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to those blogs. By the way, about 11-12 minutes gone in West Bromwich Albion versus Manchester City, and Manchester City lead Yaya Toure scoring after 9 minutes. So it's currently West Bromwich Albion 0, Manchester City 1 down at the Hawthorns. Now, it is one of them ones. We got a hell of a lot of show to get into. But first and foremost, just want to give a big time shout out to all the Skypers that we've got in the house right now. We got Brad Hicks in the house. We've got Mike Harniman, Ryan Sonley, and Russ Vernon. And we've also got Kenny around as well, who will be giving us a round up of the London teams later on behalf of him and his mate Yusuf as well. All good. Also, big time shout outs, of course, to Jesse Fizzle, our third co-host of the Trifecta. And also big shout outs to Sophie and Rachel of Girls on the Ball, and also Tom Wood as well, and of course Tom's mates as well, who we met down on Wembley Way. And also to Stevie 00 Ballard is one of those big time shout outs, as you will see that footage on Pitch Talk at the Women's FA Cup Final 2015. Keep an eye out for that. We've got a lot of bonus material that we're going to be releasing with the full film as well. So it's been a lot of fun. editing up that in post. Still got a way to go, but it is one of them ones. We had a lot of fun with it so far. So big time shout outs to everyone that we met on Wembley Way, including Acorn FC as well, because we interviewed a couple of their players. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is about that time where we roll into the first segment of the show. Let's get it kicked off right with results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results and analyses. That's where we go, baby. That's where we go, baby. And we do want to give it, I said, want to give a big time shout out to the FA WSL, and also here's one of them was SSE Energy as well. The Women's FA Cup final was a hell of a lot of fun. As you all know already, Chelsea won that. And it was one of them was, man. We were one, myself and Jesse Fizzle were two of, and also along with Stevie Ballard as well. So on them was, we were 3 of the 30,710 people in that Wembley Stadium. So for that match, so big time shout outs. I said big shout outs to Tom Wood, Stevie O Ballard, and also of course girls on the ball as well. Big time shout outs. Where we're gonna go though, where we are going to go is Wednesday, 5th of August 2015, UEFA Champions League qualifying round. We're just going to take selected ones. For now. FK Karabag 0, Celtic 0, aggregate 1-0. Aggregate 1-0 to Celtic. So Celtic go through to the playoff round, which we're going to get into the draw for that in a minute. Shift on quickly to Thursday, 6th of August 2015, UEFA Europa League qualifying third round. We'll be here all night if we go through all of these, so we're just going to take literally a couple. Where are we? Vitesse 0, Southampton 2. Graziano Pella opening scoring on 4 minutes with Sadio Mane scoring on 89 minutes. So Southampton went through 5-0 on aggregate. Aberdeen 1, Kairat Almaty 1, aggregate 3-2 to Almaty. Gohu opening the scoring on 59 minutes for Kairat, but McLean scored on 84 minutes, but it wasn't enough for Aberdeen as they crashed out. Where shall we go next? Let's go Austria Giurgiu versus West Ham. Austria Giurgiu 2, West Ham 1, aggregate 4-3 to Austria Giurgiu. Lanzini opened the scoring for West Ham on 3 minutes, but Budescu scored on 32 and 36 minutes to give Astra the place in the next stage of Europa League qualifying. Now, in terms of the Europa League qualifying and the Champions League playoff draws as well, the Champions League playoff draw, the non-champions route, this all took place on Friday, 7th of August 2015. The non-champions route ties to be played August 18th and 19th and 25th and 26th, second legs. The non-champions route, Lazio versus Bayer Leverkusen, Man United versus Club Brugge, Rapid Vienna versus Shakhtar Donetsk, Valencia versus Monaco, Sporting Lisbon versus CSKA Moscow. Now, same dates, August 18th and 19th for 25th and 26th for the second legs. The champions route, FK Astana versus Apoel Nicosia of Cyprus, Skendabo Korse versus Dinamo Zagreb, Celtic host Malmo, FC Basel versus Maccabi Tel Aviv of Israel, Bate Borisov versus Partizan Belgrade. The 10 winners advance to the 32-team group stage draw on August 27th in Monaco. Now, The playoff round draw in the Europa League also took place on Friday, 17th of August 2015. Altak versus Belenenses, Steaua Bucharest versus Rosenborg, Victoria Pilsen versus Vojvodina, Ajax versus Jablonek, Molde versus Standard Liège, Zelina versus Athletic Club, Zoya Luhansk versus Legia Warsaw, Milsami Orhei versus Saint Etienne, Young Boys versus Karabag, PAOK versus Bromby, Girondins de Bordeaux, aka Bordeaux versus Pirates Almaty, who beat West Ham, of course. Where is our next one as well? Dinamo Minsk versus FC Salzburg, Slovan Liberec versus Hajduk Split, Kabbalah versus Panathinaikos, Austria Giurgiu versus AZ Alkmaar, FC Krasnodar versus HJK Helsinki, Lech Poznan versus Videoton, Rabotniki, not Robotnik, not that. Rabotniki versus Rubin Kazan, Atromitos versus Fenerbahce, Southampton play Midgetland. Yes, they're called Midgetland. Odds BK versus Borussia Dortmund, and Sparta Prague versus FC2. The home and away matches will have been reversed, some of them, since the draw was made. But the ties will be played on 20th and 27th of August, with the 22 winners going into the group stage draw in Monaco on August 28th, along with the 16 automatic entrants and the 10 teams defeated in the Champions League playoff draw. Now, there are certain teams who have already got buys to the group stage because of league positions. Schalke 4 of Germany, Napoli of Italy, Tottenham Hotspur, Villarreal of Spain, Olympique Marseille of France, Dnipro of Ukraine, Braga of Portugal, Fiorentina of Italy, Anderlecht of Belgium, Liverpool, Besiktas of Turkey, Lokomotiv Moscow, Augsburg of Germany, Asteras Tripolis of Greece, FC Groningen of Holland, and Schaan of Switzerland go directly through to the group stage of the Europa League. So that's the way that shakes down in terms of the draws. Now shifting on. Unless anyone wants to jump in on these Champions League playoff draws so far. G-Man, you fancy having a little comment on it?
Well, I'm just saying the playoff draws for the Champions League, they look rather tasty. You know, Man United versus Club de Bruges. It's going to be interesting to see how this new Louis van Gaal team will do, even though, you know, they're expected to win this game, being that they're Man United. It's going to be interesting. It's just going to be interesting. Also, the Celtic game against Malmo. You know, Celtic in the past have had their... Sometimes they're able to beat the bigger teams and then they totally capitulate. They got a bit of Arsenal syndrome where they capitulate against teams that they can really actually beat. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we'll get more into the capitulation.
And with them being from the shores of the UK, it's going to be interesting to see how they do. And Monaco versus Valencia stands out for me as well.
Yeah, no, you know what? Yeah, I'm going Lazio versus Bayer Leverkusen, which kind of stands out along with those. I mean, Valencia Monaco definitely looks interesting. It's one of them ones. I think that does. I mean, even in the Europa League, I quite like the look of a couple of games in there. God, it's such a big draw. Southampton versus Midgetland looks like it could be interesting for Southampton. Hopefully they pass through and go into Europe. Steaua Bucharest versus Rosenborg kind of stands out to me, just purely because that reminds me of them old Cup Winners' Cup ties. That's the only reason it really stands out to me. So one of them ones. I think that's going to be very, very interesting on that side. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Russ Vernon, you want to jump in quickly before we move on?
Yeah, Liam, because I saw the West Ham game in the Europa League on Thursday, should I say. And I thought they were very unlucky. I thought they deserved to get something from the game. I was hoping they'd get 2 late goals like Asher did in the first leg. and go through 5-4 on aggregate, but it wasn't to be. They performed very, very well, and I think they'll have a fantastic, good time. I think they'll build on it and have a good side next season. Have another go next season should they get into the Europa League. Not this season coming, I mean season after Liam. And I must say, the draw in the Champions League for Celtic, they've got Malmo, Liam.
Yeah, we just went through that a second ago.
Yeah, they'll be up against an ex-Rotherham United man in Carrie Arneson, who is a brilliant player, and he scored his first goal for Malmo on the weekend, which I heard was a fantastic goal, and he's a good player, and I think he'll cause Celtic some aerial problems, especially some problems with his throw-ins as well, because he can launch really good throw-ins, and I think he's going to be, I think Man United's got a tough draw in the Champions League playoffs, but I think they can get past it, but they've got a tough draw for me, so Man United. Well, that's my opinion. I don't know what you think, Liam.
I mean, it's one of them ones whereby you expect United to generally go through in that. I mean, it's been a while since we've even seen them in that third qualifying round anyway. But the fact of the matter is they usually get through. I mean, Club Brugge have never been an out-and-out force. And they're definitely not what they used to be. But the fact of the matter is you'd expect United to get through over two legs. I mean, it's an interesting one that Mike Harniman said. I like games where there's no out-and-out stronger team and it's down to performance on the day. Yeah, I mean, personally, I hate seeing teams getting steamrolled because it ends up as a boring game. It's just like, no, one-sided, no, all right. So it's one of them ones. We'll drop that. But it is one of them ones where some of the other results during the week as well in the FA Women's Super League from Wednesday, 5th of August, 2015. Notts County ladies 0, Bristol Academy 1. Jade Boyosayo scoring the only goal as bottom club. Bristol Academy beat Notts County for their first league win of the season after making a 4,000-mile trip back from international duty, and it was a nice goal as well. She actually could have had another one. By the way, the women's football show on BBC is on after us at 11:20 p.m. and they did show it just before us at 7 p.m. as well. So very interesting, worth a watch after your Monday Night Football and Fix or before your Monday Night Football and Fix. But yeah, it is one of them. Moving on in terms of results. Let's shift on to Friday, 7th of August, 2015, because the Sky Bet Championship, the Sky Bet Football League season kicked off, and it kicked off with Brighton 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Kazenga Luar getting the only goal of the game on 50 minutes, and it was a victory that Brighton really had to hold on for. It looked like they really had to hold on for it, but Brighton got the win in that one. Shifting on to when everything really kicked off. The Premier League kicked off, League One kicked off, League Two kicked off, and the Championship rolled on. But where we are going to start is in the Sky Bet Championship. Cardiff 1, Fulham 1. Matt Smith scoring on 47 minutes and Craig Noon scoring on 86 minutes. Leeds 1, Burnley 1. Antonucci with an absolute screamer on 83 minutes, but Sam Vokes equalised on 86 minutes. Coming back to that one in a second, because there should have been 2 penalties awarded against Leeds, but we'll come back to that. Birmingham 2, Reading 1. Another match where holding on was the key word, were the key words, because Birmingham opened the scoring through David Cotterill on 40 minutes. Torral scored on 47 minutes. Nick Blackman scored on 58 minutes after Kushak could cover himself in glory. It must be said. But Birmingham ended up holding on for the win, and he saved the penalty as well, so he made up for his earlier error. Blackburn 1, Wolves 2. Speaking of errors, Benica Fobi opened the scoring on 29 minutes. Craig Conway equalised on 39 minutes, but Edwards scored on 45 minutes. A goal that legitimately should not have stood, because Edwards did a brilliant Superman impression. Kieran Riley may not agree, but if you see it, it's a Superman impression. Bolton 0, Derby 0. Jay Spearing sent off on 86 minutes. Second yellow card for simulation. Looked harsh. In all honesty, looked a bit harsh. But it is one of them ones. I think it was like 4 times that I think Bolton hit the bar in this one. It's like, why won't that ball go in? And Will Hughes was injured as well. So it was one of them ones, man. Will Hughes being injured so early in the season as well. But Brentford 2, Ipswich 2. Brew opened the scoring on 45 minutes. Fraser scored on 50 minutes, but Brentford came back. Andre Gray, 92 minutes, and Tarkowski scoring on 96 minutes to get the Bees a draw at Griffin Park. Charlton 2, QPR 0. 2 teams. Hey, it's one of them. It's one of them ones. 2 teams who became very familiar with the Premier League, but Watt scored on 52 minutes and Fox scored on 72 minutes, and QPR, boy, looking like a shell of their former selves already. Hull City 2, Huddersfield 0. Lucas scoring on 39 minutes with Chuba Akpom scoring on 71 minutes. Rotherham 1, MK Dons 4. Hall opened the scoring on 5 minutes. Matt Derbyshire on 13 minutes. A Collins own goal on 28 minutes. Dean Bowditch scored on 35 minutes and Baker scored on 75 minutes. Resounding win for the MK Dons, who I think were actually the top scorers in League One last season. So it's very interesting. But Sheffield Wednesday 2, Bristol City 0. Leeds opened scoring on 60 minutes and Lewis McGugan scoring on 71 minutes. Moving down to League One, Burton Albion 2, Scunthorpe 1. Bevan opened the scoring on 55 minutes. Daniels was sent off on 71. And Akins scored on 72 minutes. And Good scored a consolation goal on 93 minutes. Chesterfield 3, Barnsley 1. Wilkinson opened the scoring on 4 minutes, but O'Shea scored on 49. Silva and Ebax Blake on 72 and Morsey on 73. Colchester 2, Blackpool 2. Good result for Blackpool, especially as though there's a lot of turmoil around their side at the moment. But Cullen opened the scoring on 18 minutes, scored again in first half stoppage time. But Gilby scored on 22 minutes and Dean Ambrose scored on 56 minutes. Coventry 2, Wigan 0. Armstrong opened the scoring on 15 minutes, scored again on 62 minutes. Crew 0, Port Vale 0. Doncaster 1, Bury 1. Forester opening the scoring on 93 minutes. But this is where the weirdness and the controversy comes in on this game, because Clark scored. Well, he basically walked the ball into the Doncaster net. Now, what happened in that one was basically ball was put out into touch, as you do when the opposition's down injured, and then the ball gets booted back. Now, Forrester, like he volleyed the ball back from the throw-in. And the ball actually went in. Now, I've been wanting to see something like this happen for a while, and it finally did. But it was one of them ones where some people say that Forrester did it deliberately. I don't think he did, to be perfectly frank. And if he did, it's funny. But Doncaster ended up doing the right thing. I mean, funny enough, one of their midfielders looked like he was going to go for the ball. Like he kind of did it in jest. And then the keeper tried to get in Clark's way. And it's like, keeper, no, don't do that. But yeah, Doncaster 1, Bury 1, and about right in terms of the scoreline. Fleetwood 1, Southend 1. McManus scored on 33 minutes, and Worrell scored on 84 minutes. And yeah, Forrester did actually say on Twitter, yeah, sorry about the goal. I mean, it's one of them ones. We all shank one. I think it's something like we all shank one at some point. And hey, he was basically saying it wasn't intentional. He was like, hey, I shanked one, but I'm not that good. So it's one of them ones on Football League tonight, actually. The new Channel 5 Football League highlight show, he actually did say that. So it is one of them ones. But it is one of them where, moving on in terms of results, Gillingham 4, Sheffield United 0. This is a result that after one game took Gillen top of the table. Osadabe, scored on 8 minutes. Oshilaja scored on 43 minutes. Egan scored on 82 minutes. And Dak scored on 94 minutes. Rochdale 2, Peterborough 0. Camps scoring on 18 minutes. Noble Lazarus scoring on 69 minutes. Oh, that's a funny game. Shrewsbury 1, Millwall 2. Collins scoring on 55 minutes. Morrison on 59 minutes. And Gregory scoring a penalty on 67 minutes. Swindon 4, Bradford 1. Morris opened scoring on 4 minutes, but Nathan Byrne scoring on 52 and 61 minutes. And Jonathan Obika scoring on 70 minutes. And Byrne completed his hat trick on 68 minutes. Walsall 1, Oldham 1. And by the way, Nathan Byrne. Woo! Hey, those were some nice goals in there. Walsall 1, Oldham 1. Sawyers scoring on 8 minutes, and then Forte scoring on 83 minutes. Sky Bet League 2, Accrington 1, Luton 1. Windass, actually Dean Windass' son, scoring on 61 minutes from the penalty spot, and Smith equaliser for Luton on 92 minutes. Wimbledon 0, Plymouth 2. Wild scoring on 40 minutes, and Carey scoring on 49 minutes. Bristol Rovers 0, Northampton Town 1. O'Toole getting the only goal of the game on 49 minutes. Cambridge 3, Newport 0. Core opening scoring on 24 minutes, scored again on 65 minutes, and Simpson scored on 80 minutes. Exeter 3, Yeovil 2. Nichols opened the scoring on 31 minutes with a penalty. Wheeler scored on 41 minutes. Laird scored on 46. Dolan scored from the penalty spot at 63. And Hoskins scored on 84. Hartlepool 2, Morecambe 0. Billy Painter scoring on 25 minutes. Bingham scoring on 65 minutes. Leyton Orient 2, Barnet 0. Hey, it was kind of funny actually, because on Football League Tonight, the new Channel 5 highlight show, they actually had Barnet's manager Martin Allen on there. But yeah, Simpson scored on 74 minutes, and McCallum scored on 75 minutes. Mansfield 1, Carlisle 1. Benning opening scoring on 29 minutes. Ibere scoring on 47. Basically first half time. Oxford United 1, Crawley Town 1. Edwards scoring on 56 minutes, and Hilton scoring on 65 minutes. Portsmouth 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. Evans scoring on 51 minutes. Bennett scoring on 63 and 74 minutes. Wycombe Wanderers 3, York City 0 is the last result we're going to do on Sky Bet League 2. No, I'm kidding. It's not the last one. But Wycombe 3, York 0. Stewart scoring on 7 minutes. Holloway scoring on 28. And Zubar scoring a very unfortunate own goal, it must be said, on 58 minutes. And Mr. Mike Harniman, don't think you're getting away that easily. Don't think you're getting away that easily. Stevenage 0, Notts County 2. A result that Big T, a.k.a. Thomas Hewitt, a.k.a. one half of the tag team champions of the world of being a wrong un, was very, very happy about, but Mike Harniman was not happy about, because Stevenage 0, Notts County 2. The Taylor 2s for Mike Harniman this weekend, but we'll get into the second one later. Why? More on that later. But it's what that was. Thompson opened the scoring on 35 minutes, and Amavor scored on 88 minutes. Amavor was sent off on 94 minutes, and Hitchcock was sent off on 94 minutes as well. So, before we move back to the Premier League, would anyone like to jump in on the Sky Bet Championship, League 1 and League 2 matches that we've gone in so far? Russ Vernon, how about it?
Yes, Liam. First and foremost, I'll jump in on my team, Leeds United against Burnley. I was at the match, and I must say, from where I was sitting down the opposite end of the field, it was I knew the goal that Antonucci scored was going in. You could see where he left his foot, and it was going in. But it was poor defending from Scott Wootton and Giuseppe Beluschi to lose Sam Vokes, to let him get the header in and equalise, which was in the net where I was sitting. But overall, we should have won that game. Burnley never like scoring in the first half, apart from that chance where Carl pulled it across goal and just went narrowly wide of the post. In the second half, we had more attempts on goal, and we had more attempts in the actual game itself. We had more possession for me in the game. and it was a good game. Rotherham on the Football League Tonight highlights, Liam, which you've mentioned about, as it MK Don's score. I think it was there. I'm not sure if it was the third or the fourth goal. You can see my cousin on there flicking his arms up and say what's going on, and my other cousin putting her head in her hands and say what's going on after MK Don scored the goal in the game in front of them, which is the Cop where they sit. In the other game in the Sky Bet League 2, I must say it was a good result for Plymouth away to FC Wimbledon. Fantastic result for them, and congratulations on your first 3 points of the season. Also in League 2, I was going to say congratulations Big T, but unlucky Mr. Mike Harniman. Better the next time. Well done Ross County against Stevenage. And for me, it was both of the players who got sent off in that game should have been sent off. I'm also going to say well done to Tom Wood of South End of Pitch Talk, who got a good draw down at Fleetwood of the weekend. And I must say that for me, it was a cross from David Worrell, not a shot, which looped in. And I must say a big shout out to one of my other good friends, Brian Christopher Jeeves, who was working at the Southend game for the Yellow Advertiser, one of the newspapers, which he covers the Southend game, Dagenham and Redbridge, Colchester, and even covers some West Ham United matches as well, Liam, for that newspaper. So a big shout out to you, Brian. Love doing well, and thanks for the help that you've given me when I've been doing my journalism training when I was at the Sheffield Star last season with Rotherham United.
Good stuff. And you know what? Yeah. Do any of the other Skypers want to jump in as well? Because I know there's a couple. Ryan, you want to have at it? Ryan, what results you want to jump in on?
I'm going to jump in on Barnsley. No, not Barnsley. The Bury Doncaster. I thought it was respect to Doncaster, obviously, for letting them go through and score after a deliberate shot from Forestry. I mean, it happened.
I still don't think it's deliberate, because it's very easy to try and get it back to the goalkeeper and end up putting a little too much on it. I don't think it was intentional.
No, I don't think it was. But, I mean, it happened to Argyle back in 2001 in the League Cup when we were playing Yeovil. Lee Johnson smashed the ball back to our keeper at the time, which I think it was John Sheffield, and it went in. And Lee Johnson and Gary Johnson, obviously father and son, went, well, we're going to let Plymouth score. They let us score, and then they beat us 3-2. But and the other result I'm going to cut on is Plymouth Argyle versus Wimbledon. I mean, I was obviously asleep during the game because I was not feeling that great in the morning of the day, and I woke up and I was like, what was the Argyle score? So I'm checking my phone and I've seen the score, and I'm like, oh my God. First away win since 2011. And I mean, for two of our debutants, and one of them who I'm getting very close to on Twitter, and he calls me a top man and all that, and he is, and as soon as I seen he'd scored, I was like, I've gone wild about it, because he is a class player, and his goal, well, that could be my contention for goal of the week.
Well, stuff of the week is later on in the show, so let's hang around for that one. It's one of them. Stuff of the week is going to be an interesting one this week, especially goal of the week. There have been some tremendous goals that we haven't even mentioned yet in results and analysis. But Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll take the Stevenage game against Notts County, that defeat there. First of all, I just want to say that if you saw my status before the game about the two people that were involved in a collision with a car, Just to let you all know that everything is fine with them. You know, according to the local paper and stuff, it's they only sort of suffered minor injuries, which is good to know. So that's a positive. But the game itself, disappointing result. Teddy would have expected probably to go out there with a win for the first game and show what he's, you know, what he wants to season, what he can achieve. But I think, like I said on Facebook, really, it's one which I'm glad to get out of the way, because they'll be up there this season. They're a strong side, and to be honest, we created chances, but if you don't take your chances, similar to what happened on Sunday, then you're prone to getting beat.
Hey, possession is nothing without penetration. How we always say. But hey, it's one of them ones. The fact of the matter is, as you rightly said, it's a case of if you ain't scoring the goals, it doesn't really matter how much of the ball you have. So it's interesting. But hey, it's one of the ones. I said, yeah, I've been waiting to actually drop my opinions on the new football league tonight. Yeah, Channel 5's new offering. On a personal note, actually more of a professional note, as a video editor myself, wasn't keen on it. To me, as good, I mean, obviously we are very happy that the Championship, League 1, League 2, the Sky Bet Football League has got its own show, and it's not in kind of the graveyard shift that it used to be in. But the fact of the matter is, in terms of production value, that's obviously more of a kind of production kind of term. But the fact of the matter is, production value, it just looks like an El Cheapo version of Saturday Night Football on Sky Sports. It looks I don't know. It just looks very cheap. I personally want. This is just me, and from what I wanted from it, I wanted to see a lot more action. It's one of them was the fact that, yeah, you know, I think Kenny's right. Highlights being on the BBC and adverts ruin things. I mean, you can do a good highlight show with adverts. The Champions League highlights to Sky Sports do prove that. But for me, I'm not keen on the set. I'm not keen on the fact that they've got an audience in there, but they don't really use them to great effect. In terms of, if you're going to have an audience, I mean, it's one of them there was one point where this is basic video production, where if you're going to have an audience in studio and you're going to throw questions out to them and let them speak, at least have someone operating a boom mic or just have someone pass a microphone around at the very least. At least have that. That is basic video production stuff. So, I mean, it's one of them was I just wasn't really happy with it. I mean, the format of the Football League show on BBC was perfectly fine. Manish Bassin and Leroy Rossignol or Steve Claridge didn't so much mind that, because the main focus was the action. They would go through, right, here's the featured game in the Championship. Highlights of that. Then they'd go through the rest of the Championship and then be like, right, that's that. Let's have a little brief talk about that. Then let's go into League 1. Have the highlights of that, maybe even a featured game. Then that format just works. For me, it's a case of that format works. At least they're not throwing to a television truck where they've got Andy Townsend in an awful doo-doo brown shirt talking smack at 7:30 in the evening. At least it's not as bad as that. Because when the Premiership was first around, that was what it was, and it was like, oh, this is awful. Even as a youngster, it was like, oh no. But the women's football show I was watching earlier, and the women's football show, that's how you know a channel that is used to producing quality content in comparison to a commercial entity that really should be doing more, that really should be producing better content, considering they've got money to put into it. But the fact of the matter is, it can only get better. And I said, the women's football show, I actually really enjoy that. Timing's a little awkward because obviously we're setting up for PT. But in terms of as a program, which I encourage everyone to watch, 7 till 7:30 p.m. on the BBC Red Button, and also it's at 11:20, so straight after your Monday Night Football and Fix, you can watch that and give us some feedback on what you thought. But the women's football show, like it. The format is nice and snappy. Jump back to studio briefly, then go into more highlights, then a little special feature. Like that. That format works. It's like what they used to do on the Football League show with Clem, and they used to throw over to a special feature with him visiting a ground. It worked. As a format, it worked. But this El Cheapo equivalent, and I know someone's going to bring up, yeah, but it's filmed at the Sky Studios in Osterley. Yeah, I realized that. It's filmed at the Sky Studios in Osterley, but it doesn't mean you have to copy exactly what they do for Saturday Night Football, but with a lot less of a budget. Because that's what it ends up looking like, just an El Cheapo version of Saturday Night Football. I understand you filmed them both in the same place, but it doesn't mean they've got to look alike. I don't know. For me, Kelly Cates as a presenter, I actually don't mind her, but it was the lead male presenter. Not so keen on him. Not really so keen on him. Seeing that he had kind of scripted ad-libs and that. So anyway, it's one of them. But that's my view on it. Would anyone else like to jump in with their view? I wouldn't mind hearing some other views. I mean, Ryan, what did you think of the new Football League highlight show, the inaugural episode on Channel 5? What did you think of it?
To be honest, I thought it was absolute crap. It was, I mean, I came in from a night out and I thought, I'll put it on because I've recorded it. I thought, I'll put it on. So I put it on, and they showed Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, yeah, I respect to that. Showing a team that did well in League One last season against a mid-table Sheffield Wednesday team. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then they go to a League One team next. And I'm
yeah. That bouncing about between the leagues was actually a bit annoying. Because imagine someone coming and watching. They had never watched the Football League before. That would be really confusing. You're going from Championship to League Two, then coming back up to League One. They go back to Championship, then come back. It's confusing.
You'd have thought that Sheffield United game, like Sheffield United versus whoever it was, I can't remember who it was now, were in the same league as Sheffield Wednesday and Bristol City. But it was just appalling. I mean, the adverts kind of ruined it. And, I mean, I'm not a big fan of adverts in TV programs that are going to be running for good. I mean, if you're going to put adverts in, make sure it's about the subject of what it's a football league show, so make adverts about football.
Well, because see, Channel 5 are a bit hamstrung with that because it's a commercial network. They can't just have football adverts. I mean, it's like it's like what they used to do with World Championship Wrestling, WCW, back in the 90s during the Monday Night Wars. Actually, no, even before that, when it was NWA Championship Wrestling, where they used to strategically position shows before and after it, because the NWA had such good ratings. They would put shows before it to get their ratings up, and shows after it, because they would hope that people would tune in just before and tune in and stay just a little bit after, and then they get the other shows around the ratings up. Same with adverts as well, where it's a case of, if you want to advertise Nivea for men, for instance, where there's Liverpool players in that advert, you would put that during the Football League show. It's not a football advert, but it's got football stars in it. But also betting adverts, that kind of thing, you might crowbar in, because it's prime time as well. It's even harder to leverage just put in football related adverts only on it. So that's one thing that Channel 5 do have to deal with.
The BBC did it, and obviously they did it because obviously they don't have adverts during shows.
Well, that's because they're basically taxpayer funded. They're funded by the television license, and they're not a commercial entity. Whereas ITV and Channel 5, how they make their money is largely from advertising. So that's the reason for that.
But on the other note, on Football League tonight, I mean, having a live audience, what was the actual point in that? And I mean, they say about the Twitter as well, right? They said if you tweet in, you'll get a mention. Well, a few people will get a mention. I don't think
they did. They didn't mention any, did they?
I don't think they mentioned any. I mean, I turned it off after the second lot of adverts because it just it basically threw me, and I was like, really? And then because I was on Skype to a fellow Argo fan, I was actually talking to him, and he just went, "Do you want to see the highlights of Argo?" And I went, "Go on then." So he showed me them. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, apparently the highlights that they showed on Argo were like 12 seconds or something. And I mean,
you've got to bear in mind. I watched the version without the adverts, and the length of basically breaking it down without the adverts. It's an hour and a half slot, but it doesn't mean you're getting an hour and a half of programming. Now, a half an hour program, once you factor in adverts, is only about 23 minutes over here. In the United States, it's 21 because they have adverts every 7 minutes. But basically, we're lucky that we only get adverts on the quarter hours. We get them every 15 minutes, which means basically, as I said, a half an hour show breaks down to about 23 minutes. An hour show breaks down to about 47 minutes. So that's the so basically the
show was only on for about 60 minutes or so.
Well, Football League, the new Football League Tonight show is basically an hour and 6 minutes. Now you compare that to the Football League show, which was a clean hour and a half. That's half an hour's worth of stuff that you've got to cut out. Plus, you've got the live audience that they're clearly going to try and make use of at some point. But I personally don't think they've got the format right. In all honesty, but that's me coming from a video production background, and obviously with what we do with PT. So obviously, I'm going to be a little more critical about it. But one person I'd like to throw to in regards to this actually, because I know Russ and Mike Harniman want to jump in on this. Kenny, seeing as you were part of a show called Sports Tonight, what is your view as well? Because you've got somewhat of an insider perspective, especially in terms of television style production. What did you think? Did you manage to see the new Football League highlight show on Channel 5?
Yeah, of course, some of it. I think I agree with what a lot of people were saying. I was quite disappointed with it. It had no structure because what was happening, it was going from Championship to League One, then League Two, and everything. It didn't have some sort of structure. It's like normally, you had the Championship and you go down the levels, and I think football fans in general wouldn't mind that. So I think that's one of the worst things. So I think when you do the social media things that I was doing before, one of the things that used to quite annoy me a little bit at Sports Tonight, especially towards the end, was the lack of structure and organisation. Because once you get the organisation and the structure down, people just switch off, and even people who want to get involved in the show on a professional level will go elsewhere. I think that's where the Football League needs to get on. But again, they've got to pay the bills. You've got to have the adverts on. Yeah. But it's all about structure. A studio audience for me does not work. It's a waste of time. It's people are not going to get their say. Especially, I think they're better off having a Twitter thing. But again, some people are going to want to be getting on Twitter and getting their views over. You're not going to get everyone's views at all. So again, at the end of the day, someone like myself who's watching who's a football fan, want to see football action. Yeah. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see highlights. I want to see highlights. I don't want to see interaction with other fans or an argument between them. I just want to see action. I don't want to see too much of Kelly Cates, lovely woman that she is, or the other guy, George Riley as well. I just want the action. That's what we got when we watched Football League highlights last year with Manish and Leroy Rossenior. That's what we want.
No,
people.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And my concern is, I mean, hopefully it'll be one of them ones where that'll be the inaugural show, and hopefully they're listening to Pitch Talk Live because we're trying to give some advice. It's one of them ones. We're not just sniping and that kind of thing. We're actually trying to give advice that's constructive here. It's one of them ones because it's very easy to say that there's a problem. It's a lot more positive and proactive to try and give a solution and help with a solution. It's one of them ones, and they should really be paying us for this discussion. But it is a case of, yeah, it did seem like it lacked a bit of structure. I mean, even the bits with Martin Allen, similar to what I've been saying about the Javon Prince show. If anyone's watching that, it's a case of.
I know Javon Prince very well.
I think he's hilarious on Phone Shop, but on his own show, there's a lot of those jokes that take a while to get to the punchline. Now with the Javon Prince show, that's the way I'm kind of seeing it. And even when I'm watching it with my brother, my mum, and my sister, it was a case of like, yeah, where's the punchline? Should have come a couple minutes ago. Now I've drifted off, and if I wasn't somewhat attentive, I would have forgotten what the original setup to the joke was. But it's a case of some of the Martin Allen segments just went on way too long. So that's my view anyway. But I mean, Mike Harniman, did you wanna jump in, and then we'll have Russ Vernon, and then we got to move on. After.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to sort of say that I agree with the majority of the points. I think the Football League show was a lot better the way that it was sort of already being run. Obviously, we had Clem, as you touched on already, Liam as well, with the special features and stuff, which always added to it. And I think as much as the new show has its potential.
Yeah, definitely.
And it can go somewhere, but I'm not sure what kind of route they want to go down, because obviously the live audience wasn't really being spoken to or anything much, apart from for once or twice on predictions of who's going to finish where in the league or who's favourites on whatever league and so on.
Well, even when they did, we couldn't hear the guy because it seemed like they had the live audience there. They were willing to throw questions to him a couple of times, but it seemed like the production crew didn't know. So again, what Kenny said in terms of that lack of organisation, that's a pretty amateur. That does look quite amateurish. There's no point you throwing questions out to the audience if you can't hear them.
But hopefully, as you said, that's kind of just where it was the first show. They kind of going to watch it back and kind of learn from the mistakes that they've made on that one, and
definitely,
go better from that.
I really hope so, because the Football League needs the exposure, especially with the Premier League taking over Friday nights. This kind of exposure is going to become even more crucial in terms of getting fans in and getting fans buying into the Sky Bet Football League, because it's fantastic action. There's nothing wrong with the action. It's just the exposure.
Yeah, and just like two more little side points. One, I just want to say a good thing on their part is obviously it's still going to be on when there's no championship action. So that's obviously quite pleasing to know that you can still follow League One and League Two when championship teams are involved in cup action and so on.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
so it's always great to know. But then, kind of not meaning to throw it back down again and bring it back down again, but if you notice at the end of the show, they were talking to Martin Allen and I think Adam Virgo throughout the show as well. And I noticed this straight away. They mentioned something to Martin Allen. I think it was like on the goodbye section, sort of, saying thank you for joining us and whatever. And Adam Virgo was just left there. I don't even think they mentioned his name. And that is very, like, if that's true, and if that's like how it was meant to be, I don't know, but it's just really, really odd for me, that.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, as I said, the exposure now, because it's even more crucial. So I'm just hoping they get it right and they develop the format and get it really down. Because even with us here on Pitch Talk Live, it took us a while to get our format down and really refined. We know what we're doing, but it was a case of, if you listen to some of our earlier shows, I'm talking 2010 early, because we started 2 weeks before the World Cup, then you can see a progression. It's like our videos as well, our earlier videos from back in mid 2010. You can see the progression, and that's always important. But hey, you got to start somewhere, and at least the ball is rolling. In the words of Shane Douglas, or well, his real name Troy Martin, on his Breaking Kayfabe interview, talk good about me, talk bad about me, as long as you're talking about me. So it's one of them ones. But Russ Vernon,
just want to say I look forward to hopefully being proved wrong as well on what I've said, and hopefully it does. Hopefully it does improve from that week. Obviously, it's got potential, as I've said. So let's hopefully it picks up from that week and grows on the people that are saying, including myself, about how poor it was run the first show.
Yeah, I mean, I'll persevere with it, keep watching it because I want to watch the Football League action. But some people may not be as generous. Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in before we got to move on?
Yeah, 'cause I actually taped it because it was at my uncle's, and then I watched it yesterday, and I watched it Saturday night after match of the day because it's also repeated on Spike TV, which is on Freeview and Sky.
And what did you think? What did you think of it?
And I thought the format was ridiculous, really. I would have stuck with the same format as what the Football League show did, which do Championship, then move on to League One, and then move on to League Two, not swapping and changing, like you guys have said so far. I think like I was saying at the end, I also noticed that Bad and Very Good didn't get mentioned when they were finishing off. And to answer to your question on Twitter, I would change the format. Or I'd do Championship first, then do League One, then League Two, and probably have a featured game from each division to make it more interesting. And also, one other thing I would change is, instead of, because I don't know if you noticed this, Liam, on the Leeds United v Burnley match and the Brighton against Forest game on the Football League tonight, they used the same commentators as what Sky Sports had of the game. What I would do, instead of using their commentary and their commentators, I would get their own commentary team. If they want two people there or just one, like the Football League show did, have just one person there for themselves, do the commentary for the Football League tonight, and have Sky have their own. Because if you're watching it, if you watch the game live and then you're going to watch it again on highlights, you'll have already heard what the Sky commentators have said. So you want to hear someone else's opinion on the goals that's been scored or the incidents that happened in the game, not the same commentators that you had at lunchtime or Friday night as Brighton's game was shown.
Do you know what? Okay, do you know what?
That's my opinion.
Do you know what? I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that point. I'm gonna come back to that point. Basically, as I said, just looking at a couple of things on Twitter as well, we put out the question, what would you change about it? Did you watch Channel 5's Football League tonight inaugural show? What did you think of it? What would you change about it? At Kane Football on Twitter has said everything. At Richard Morpeth has asked how long was the show, and ads aside, was it roughly the same length as what it was when it was on BBC? No, BBC it was about an hour and a half. Whereas all told on the on Channel 5 it was about an hour 6 minutes. But Kane Football has also said it just doesn't need to be a show with rubbish gimmicks, wooden presenters, and with awful forced banter. Just show highlights. And yeah, we know that is actually Kane Bennett. The fact is, in terms of same commentators and that kind of thing, getting your own commentators in would be a little pointless. You may as well, seeing as they're broadcasting it from Sky Studios, they probably edited it at Sky as well, so they've probably got easy access, so that if Sky have shown a game that day, then it just makes sense to use their commentary and basically repurpose it for the show highlights, because they're going to be using Sky's feed in terms of footage, just overlaid with different graphics. And also there's also issues within, I mean, imagine Channel 5 has paid for the rights to show highlights, and they've also paid rights to the commentary. it doesn't make any sense to go out and basic, because it takes time to revoice stuff and make it fit. That is an art form unto itself, so that takes time as well. So you can't, so it's not as simple as people think in terms of, oh, why don't you just get your own commentators and do it again? Because then you've got to cut the highlights down and then have someone come in and revoice it. Not only is that an extra expense, that will take up a lot of time as well. And the turnaround, let's say most of those games were at 3 o'clock, you've got to have that pretty much edited. If it's going on air at say 7, 8 o'clock, you need to have that edited by 6 o'clock, 6:30 at a push, so it can go through quality control, it can go through color correction, that kind of thing as well, and so that the edits are actually done properly. So as I said, this is more coming from kind of a video production background, which, as some people will know, I'm a video editor by trade, and even though I've worked for smaller companies, obviously you get to do certain things. And of course, with Pitch Talk Live and kind of PT on the road and that kind of thing, we have our own ways of, we produce our own content. So there's kind of somewhat of an inside knowledge in that regard. But that's some of the things that make it not as easy as people think in terms of changing stuff. But it is one of them ones. It is one of them ones. And at Richard Morpeth on Twitter said, seems shorter than when it was on BBC. Yeah, it's shorter by the show's shorter by about at least half an hour. So it's one of them ones, you've got to cram that in. Plus they're trying to get the audience involved as well. I personally don't think a show like that really needs an audience. Saturday Night Football, it's fine to have an audience on it because Sky have got like a 2-3 hour block. They've got like a 2-3 hour block where they've literally blocked that out for the match, and Sky can do that. So if you've got that, you can throw to the audience just to fill time if you really want to. You could get the audience to help fill time for you if you're running short. But it is a case of when you've got an hour show and you're trying to get through 40 or 50 matches, there's just, as Kenny said, there's just no point really having an audience in there. Otherwise your highlights suffer because they've got to be really short. So it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. It is a very interesting one. Richard Morpeth on Twitter has said, seems BBC showed more action from the games in Channel 5. Yeah, they did. They did show more action. And it was clearly delineated as well. You knew what was coming at what point. The only bad thing was just the time slot. But if you're up already for match of the day, then it segues in very nicely because straight after. So it's one of them. As Mike Harniman rightly put it, I'm hoping that it gets better. Things can only get better in terms of football, in terms of the new Football League highlight show on Channel 5. But a big shout out to Richard Morpeth, big shout out to Kane Football on Twitter, and big shout out to our Skypers as well. Ryan, Russ, Kenny as well, who have had their views as well. Mike, Kenny, Russ, Ryan, thank you so much, guys, for your opinion in that debate. By the way, currently about 55 minutes gone. West Bromwich Albion 0, Manchester City 2. Yaya Toure has both. He scored on 9 and 24 minutes. So yeah, Manchester City currently 2-0 and all too good right there. But let's shift on. It's a nice little segue into the Premier League. So let's shift on. Saturday, August 8th, 2015, Premier League. Man United 1, Tottenham 0. Kyle Walker with the only goal of the game, an own goal on 22 minutes. A real boring game. That I was annoyed because I was like, well, I'm not getting that hour and a half of my life back. Bournemouth 0, Aston Villa 1. Rudy Gestede with quality header as well, scoring on 72 minutes. Everton 2, Watford 2. Leon scoring for Watford on 13 minutes. Igalo scored on 83 minutes. Ross Barkley with a legit goal of the week contender on 76 minutes. And Aruna Kone on 86 minutes, equalising again for Everton. Leicester City 4, Sunderland 2. Jamie Vardy scoring on 11 minutes. Riyad Mahrez, who recently signed a new contract, more on that later, scoring on 18 minutes and scoring a penalty on 25 minutes. Jermaine Defoe scoring on 60 minutes. Mark Albrighton scoring on 66 minutes. Very crucial goal for him after what him and his wife have been through recently. So big shout out to him. Also big shout out to Jack Lloyd, who actually pointed that out on our FB page as well. Stephen Fletcher scoring Sunderland's second goal on 71 minutes. Something with 3-0 down at half time on that one. Norwich 1, Crystal Palace 3. Wilfred Zaha scoring on 39 minutes. Damian Delaney scoring on 49 minutes. Redmond scoring on 69 minutes, and Johan Cabaye scoring on 94 minutes. Cameron Jerome actually had the goal kind of very harshly disallowed, to be perfectly frank. You can kind of see both ways though. But it's one of them was Chelsea 2, Swansea 2. Oscar scoring on 23 minutes. Andre Ayew scoring on 29 minutes. Fernandez scoring an unlucky own goal on 30 minutes. Can't legislate for it. Bafatembi Gomis scored a penalty on 55 minutes after Courtois was sent off on 52 minutes. Now, in regards to the Thibaut Courtois thing, Chelsea have appealed against Thibaut Courtois' dismissal, which is an absolute joke, to be perfectly frank. I mean, he brought down Bafatembi Gomis. He was last man. It was right on the edge of the box. If it's on the line, it's in the box. So I don't know how they're gonna appeal that straight red. But anyway, Chelsea are appealing it now. It is actually laughable that they are appealing it, and Mourinho has been shooting his mouth off, criticizing his own medical staff, because briefly Chelsea were down to eight outfield players, 9 players in total, and it's just laughable that Jose Mourinho was actually criticizing Eva Carneiro for basically treating and helping one of his own players. Doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna come back to that one because there's a lot more to be said about that. Moving on to Sunday, 9th of August 2015 in the FA Women's Super League. Chelsea ladies 4, Birmingham City ladies 0. Good game that one. Good game that one. If you saw the highlights of that, good game. Fran Kirby scored on her debut, and Gemma Davison actually got sent off. Her first yellow card, 2 yellow cards. Her first yellow card, poor tackle, deserved a yellow. The second caution for diving looked harsh. There was contact and there was a pull. It's one of them. She was sent off for that. But Gilly Flaherty scored from a corner in first half injury time, and Eniola Aluko scored twice. Once from the penalty spot as well. And Fran Kirby actually came on for Eniola Aluko and scored on her debut. So big shout outs to Fran Kirby. Arsenal ladies 2, Manchester City women 3. They continued their 100% winning record since the Women's World Cup. And this was actually a very good game. This was shown on BT Sport 1 as well. Lucy Bronze headed City into the lead, but Alex Scott actually scored a quality goal. But I still think that was a cross. Fantastic. But Izzy Christensen restored the visitors' lead after that. Tony Duggan curled in a belter. Goal of the week contender. Will it be straight shooting LJ, the G-Man, or anyone else's goal of the week? Stuff of the week is later on in the show. Natalia pulled one back for Arsenal. A good header, but it just wasn't enough. Manchester City women dominated the first half. And it was one of them ones. There was a bit of controversy in their goal that Lucy Bronze scored because it didn't look like the whole ball was over the line. But remember, the FA WSL, they don't have the benefit of goal line technology yet. So that's one of them ones. But the linesman, who myself and the G-Man, we were having a bit of a laugh saying he looked a bit like Jezzy. Well, a combination of our own Jezzy Fizzle and Javinho. I know G-Man, you were saying that. Yeah. But it was Bafa Tembi Jezzy. But no, it was one of them. Was a very entertaining match, actually. Very, very entertaining match there. Continuing on Sunday night for August 2015. G-Man, you want to take this one? I know you want to take that one. I know you want to take it. That's why I'm not going.
Hey, say that again.
Sunday 9th of August 2015. What happened at the Emirates?
Sunday night, that's 9th of August, yeah, whatever, 2015.
I don't want to say it.
Now, Arsenal versus West Ham, 2-0 West Ham in what was, well, I say one of the shocking results of the weekend within the Premiership, to be honest. After all the promise that Arsenal had shown in, and I'm doing quotation fingers here, pre-season, where they're beating Lyon, 6-0 or 6-1, and they're, beating Indonesia's national team, all those sort of things. Arsenal come into the Premier League with a lot of talk and hype about, yes, this is the strongest we've ever been. Phil Walcott signs a contract. Santi Cazorla signs a contract.
We'll get into those later as well.
You can tell that the atmosphere and the positivity around the club is high, and it was high amongst the fans as well. And going into a match where West Ham, to be honest, they're just been beaten in Europa League. Now, some would say they didn't actually want to go further in that competition because they want to concentrate on their Premier League status and building up for a good end to their final year at the Bowling Ground. Well, that's what I've heard. But in relation to the game, that loss that they had during the week, it did not affect them during this game, because Arsenal started off well for the first 40 minutes. I believed Arsenal lost the match. There was a lot of overplaying, a lot of control of the ball, a lot of intricate passes now and then. Arsenal showed moments of their slick 1-2 passing, great movement, but there was just no conviction in what they were doing. It was like they were just doing it like Harlem Globetrotters at times, where you had Ozil, Ramsey and Chamberlain just tapping the ball with each other, or Santi making a run. It was like they were just doing it for the sake of it. They never had a plan of action, just to point one of those moments out was when Santi Cazorla, he was on a nice jingly run where he had, taken it through about three midfielders and defender, and he gets onto the edge of the 18 area where he could have struck the ball, and instead of shooting, he decides to try and move it forward a bit more, and there was no apparent reason for why he tried it, because when we look at one of the goals, the West Ham goal, but before we get into that, got to shout out Koyate for his fortunate header, I've got to say, because the goal which came West Ham's way with Payet's free kick, Peter Cech comes dashing off his line. A lot of people say Arsenal were playing a high line. Yep, they switched off, but I still don't understand why Peter Cech came dashing off his line and he completely missed the ball. And that, to me, was so embarrassing for someone who, is highly regarded, especially coming from a Chelsea team where, clean sheets is his forte. But I had always said, he's going to find it very difficult at Arsenal with the defence in front of him. It's not the same defence in front of him that he had at Chelsea. So the way he has to boss this defence is a lot different. Whereas, you can almost say the experience which Chelsea had in front of him, John Terry, the likes of Ivanovic, Azpilicueta getting into his stride, and even Cahill and Zuma, that's strength. Whereas Arsenal's defence has been shaky for the last 4 years, and Cech hasn't been behind the defence like that for quite a long time. So that goal was quite a shock to me. But the way Arsenal switched off, it wasn't shocking to that wasn't shocking to me. You could always see that coming because that's what we do at times. But in the second half, I thought things were going to pick up. Yeah, it never. It didn't at all. We had a 25-minute spell where, again, we're doing a nice little intricate passes, but by this time, West Ham just sitting deeper and deeper, and trying to bite on us on the counter-attack. And, that's exactly what happened when their second goal came, where they got the counter-attack. Arsenal broke it down, but they couldn't clear it. Zarate basically took his opportunity. He didn't waste time in trying to dribble around 5 players. He found an opening, he struck it, and how the ball went almost dead center of the goal with Czech, 2 defenders in front of him stand there. The ball didn't even ricochet, it just went dead straight. How it went in, I just don't know. It was, kind of depressing. Very depressing watching that.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I mean, Martin Levitt has said tears of joy as we beat Arsenal away, and Martin we actually met on Wembley Way, as it happens. So big shout out to him. Another person we actually bumped into on Wembley Way was Wayne Schumann, one of the PT family. Basically. But yeah, it's one of them ones where he's mentioned, hey guys, won't be on PT tonight, but my flop of the week is Arsenal for their poor performances, and Arsenal fan was laughable. He said, I'm not even going to say Wenger out no more. It's just the same old story. We don't learn, we don't buy. So what's the point of even saying it when Wenger himself don't listen? I'm not even going to go into that again. I'm also not paying money to go and watch my team get laughed at when we play like that, and we're meant to be challenging for the league this season. I think not. And to which we replied, so you can make that judgment after one game that you won't be challenging, ? And he said, well, I don't see things changing. I don't see us learning from last season or the previous 10 seasons. As I said, it will be the same old story on that note. If we play like that, Palace will beat us at their place Sunday, and Liverpool will batter us next weekend at the Emirates. We need a striker, we need a DM, we need a decent, solid centre-back. But I'll say again, same old story. Sorry, we need a world-class striker. Even Henry said it himself is what we need. It's all good. We'll come good in December. Now, we're not going to go backwards into the whole Wenger out BS and all this, same old that, because it's actually boring, to be perfectly frank. And it's been, and a lot of people have actually done it on PT shows already. But fact of the matter is, taking this game for what it was, the defending was sloppy. Backing off Zarate, that dude had space. In the words of Jazzy Fizzle, that dude had the time and space to get out the sun lounger, get out a spliff, roll it up, light it up, take a couple tokes, get back up, and then take a shot. That's how much time he had. The defending on the free kick, I mean, Petr Cech was nowhere near the ball. But even so, the defense, you had, I think it was your fullback, who was about 2 yards deeper than everyone else. You can't defend like that. If you're trying to play the trap, everybody has to push out at once as a defensive unit, and that line has to be on point to make the trap work. So sloppy on both goals. Utterly sloppy on both goals. But as said, let's keep it to this game. Let's just keep it to Arsenal West Ham rather than moaning about we need this, that. Richard Morpeth on Twitter has said, in terms of how did your team get on and that kind of thing. He said, good for me, United, but a double bad day for my youngest brother as both Arsenal's men and women lost. And also, Big Shot Ron from the Section 357 show said, after the opening weekend, new favourite team, Swansea City, at Swans Official on Twitter. Love the makeup of the team. And hey, Jefferson Montero was quality. He was tearing Ivanovic a new one. We're going to come on to that result in just a second. But Kenny, you wanted to jump in on the Arsenal result quickly, and then we'll throw to Mike Harniman, and then we've got to move on to the final results from Sunday.
Yeah, just want to talk about what I said is that one has to give credit to West Ham. They were better side in all departments. Like midfield, they held the line very well. Defence, they won every header. A lot of Arsenal fans were blaming Giroud, but as far as I'm concerned, Giroud was Arsenal's most hard-working player again. So I don't understand why players like Giroud getting the blame, whilst certain players, I won't mention the name because there's a law at Arsenal that you're not allowed certain players like Messi. So I won't do that. But I'll ask you one question, though. I'll ask you one question. I just went to Holloway police station. We're looking for a German, Turkish Cypriot background. So if you found him, let me know. On a serious level, in terms of Arsenal, yeah, we probed like we normally do. We didn't create many chances. We had a lot of possession, but West Ham looked really, really dangerous during the match. And a player that should get a mention is Payet. You know, he's played in France. He's probably had the most assists in Europe over the last 4 or 5 years. Yet, and West Ham have basically got gold in their hands. And I think people should, rather than talk about Arsenal losing, people should give West Ham a bit more credit, because really and truly.
Oh, Kenny, you still there with us? Oh, I think Kenny might be just having a couple of connection issues. But look, I do very much agree with Kenny in terms of you should be really boosting up West Ham, because Reece Oxford was superb. I mean, he was legitimately superb, but there were other players around him that were playing well as well. And West Ham as a unit played very, very well. So you've always got to give everlasting credit to that. I mean, a lot of people are quick to say, oh, they were crap. My team were crap, without giving them any sort of credit. It's a bit of a shame, in all honesty, which is a bit of a shame. You know what? The other results from Sunday, actually, we're going to come on to in a minute. Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in on the Arsenal-West Ham result.
Yeah, I don't want to give credit to West Ham. I thought they had a game plan which they worked on from obviously Thursday by the lineup that they went with in the Europa League as well, to obviously sacrifice their chances in that to get the 3 points on Sunday.
But isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? Having a game plan and the game plan that worked?
Definitely. Swansea done exactly the same thing last season. Sunderland done the same thing. It happened a couple of times. But on Arsenal's part, I think we weren't good enough. We offered a lot of hope and promise in pre-season, and to create 22 chances and test the keeper 5 or 6 times, whatever it was, I don't think that's good enough. If you've got Giroud up top, or if you've got Benzema up top, or if you've got, I don't know, Falcao up top, or Aguero, or whoever, to do that, where you have 22 chances, have 6 or 7 on target, whatever it was, most of them actually came to life with Oxlade-Chamberlain and Sanchez, who were probably 2 of the better players out of the bunch, you know, to have any credit from my part. So I just think it's a very disappointing way to start the season. But like I said in the chat there, I'm not panicking about it yet.
Of course not. You're one game in.
We do have
a
chance to challenge. We are in a good position. We are in a better position than we have been for a couple of years now. We have just won a back-to-back FA Cup. So, you know, for people like Wayne, as much as I like the guy and stuff, as much as he's a friend of mine, I think he's wrong to say what he said there. And to panic after one game is just a bit ridiculous, really, when there's still 37 games to go.
Of course, but see, this is the thing with me, and I've said this on a number of occasions, that a lot of football fans are short-termist. Some chairmen are as short-termist as fans, and it's one of them ones. I mean, panicking after one game is laughable. I mean, it's just funny. I mean, you look at it. Yeah, you lot got beaten. Transfer window's still open, so there's business to still be done. I mean, remember when you lot got beaten 8-2 by United, then you lot went into the transfer window and bought a couple of players and salvaged the season.
Aston Villa, exactly the same thing. First game of the season, we lost 3-1.
There we go. So it's one of them. I mean, people getting worried and fretting after the first game is actually laughable. It's hilarious. But speaking of first game and kind of kicking off, Newcastle 2, Southampton 2, a tale of headers, because all 4 goals were headers. Graziano Pella opened the scoring on 24 minutes. Papi Cisse on 42. Wijnaldum on his Newcastle Premier League debut scoring on 48 minutes. and sh.long. If you saw the updates, you will have seen sh.long scored on 79 minutes. I love that. Big shout out to Kieran Riley on that one. Shane Long, sh.long. I love that. But so I've been waiting to speak on. Stoke 0, Liverpool 1. Philippe Coutinho brightening up and otherwise really, really drier than Kunta Kinte's ankles kind of game. Philippe Coutinho, legit goal of, it's a goal of the season contender potentially, up there with Tony Duggan as well. It's one of them ones. What a belter. I can't repeat on air the word that I was throwing out when I saw this go in, but the word patois comes to mind. I know the G-Man will get that one, but no, it's one of them was the fact of the matter is, it was a case of two teams cancelling each other out. Both defenses nice and tight, both midfields willing to kind of sit back, but we needed a spark, and little Philly Coutinho, little Brazilian magician, gave that spark. Glenn Johnson playing against his former club. It's a case of he missed a gilt-edged opportunity in the first half, which he really should have buried. So it was one of them. But hey, it's one of them ones. The demons of last season, in my view, exorcised. To be perfectly frank. So hey, one of them was start the way you mean to go on, and it looks like some of those raking passes from Jordan Henderson trying to serve Benteke. It's going to be interesting to see how he's utilized. It really will be. But I want to see Jordan Ibe taking people on a bit more, like he did last season. But we'll see. There's still a lot more of this season to go. A lot more improvement. Certain teams looked a bit off the pace, a bit sluggish, but it's understandable. First game of the season. Most teams don't get momentum until 5, 6, 7, 8 in. But at least we got those 3 points. That's the important thing against Stoke Alona, as some people put it. The final result, Preston 0, Middlesbrough 0 in the Sky Bet Championship. Really nothing else to report on that one apart from 3 yellow cards. Clark 32 minutes, Garcia Martinez on 52 minutes, and Welsh on 70 minutes was booked. Dale Fry impressed as well from all accounts. But it's one of them was Ryan Sonley. You want to jump in on this quickly before we move into a brand new segment within a segment?
Yeah, I thought obviously Preston versus Middlesbrough. Yeah, I mean I weren't expecting Borough to win because Preston have strengthened. Borough have not got a decent goal scorer, which I'm glad that they've had a $4 million bid accepted for David Nugent.
Well, that's a bid accepted, but that's not a done deal. But what did you think of the match?
I didn't watch it, but I thought it was, well, obviously 0-0. I'm happy with it because at least he didn't lose. And I mean, Dale Fry, I'm glad he made his first team debut for Borough because apparently he had one of the best pre-seasons a centre-back's had for a very long time. At Borough, this is, obviously. And I could see him pushing to be up there. I mean, Borough have just brought in Jack Stevens, who I know really well as well because of his close links with Plymouth Argyle.
Let's get him listening to PT. But carry on. What do you think?
But I think that Borough could push forward if they get, I mean, they've been trying to get Jordan Rhodes, which 14, 15 mil for him for a championship striker. I don't think it's good enough. I mean, I'd rather have a 30-year-old striker who will bag 15, 20 goals a season still.
But there's no guarantees. That's the only thing. There is legitimately no guarantees.
That he's going to sign, but yeah. I would want him to sign. Obviously, we've just got rid of Lee Tomlin to AFC Bournemouth,
which we're going to get into next segment. But yeah,
we got rid of him to Bournemouth, and then we brought in Downing, which obviously, as a Borough fan, I'm so glad because, and he's actually got Woodgate back in because obviously they're brother-in-laws. Because Woodgate got married in the summer to Stuart Downing's sister.
Yeah. No, I hear that. But I mean, I know Mike Harniman wanted to jump in as well, so we're gonna have to leave it there for the moment. Did you want to jump in on the Newcastle match? It's got to be quick though.
It's actually not really about the game itself. It's about something that happens at half time, and it's to do with a guy that I know, Junior Turner. And last year, obviously, you will know that the two Newcastle fans passed away on the tour of. I'm not sure what tour it was now, but the pre-season tour anyway.
I think it was
and
Malaysia on their way there,
he's got a tribute song out called "United We Stand," and that was played at both the Sunderland and the Newcastle games at the weekend. So I just want to say credit to them for that, and obviously for showing their respects there. The video is up on my Facebook as well, and I'll send it out on Twitter as well, so you can have a look at it. And just want to say that I've heard it myself as well, and it's very touching and means a lot to. To everyone, including myself, who's just general football fans as well as Newcastle fans.
Nah, good stuff. I like that. Remember, check out Mike Harniman's Facebook page for the link to that. Feel free to drop it on ours again as well. West Bromwich Albion 0, Manchester City 3 is the current score. About 82 minutes gone. Toure on 9 and 24 minutes, and Company on 59 minutes. So all good there. Kenny, I have a question for you.
Hello.
Kenny, are you ready?
I'm ready. All ready.
Then, for the thousands in attendance and the millions listening at home via Pitch Talk Live, it is about that time for an introduction to the London Football Roundup, a brand new segment being brought to you by Kenny and Yusuf. It's the London Football Roundup. Let's go into... Oh, you didn't know? Kenny and Yusuf are going to tell you about London football. So, Kenny, what's up, man? What's happening with the London teams? Let's hit the roundup.
Well, like I said, it's been a mixed team. We've had 3 London derbies. Like I said, we're going to start off with the London derby in League 2, where they newly promoted, where League newcomers Barnet lost to Leyton Orient at the Matchroom Stadium. Like I said, Barnet played very well, but I think watching the highlights, I noticed that Leyton Orient were probably a bit too cute for them. I think that in the ill-fated TV show, the Football League highlights on Channel 5, Martin Allen alluded to that fact, that he thought that maybe Leyton Orient were a bit too cute for him. But obviously, Leyton Orient being relegated from League 1, they did look like one promotion hopeful. So get back into League 1. Hopefully, there'll be no managerial instability they had last season, and hopefully, Mr. Signor Bettinelli, sorry, not Bettinelli, but Bacchetti, keeps his gun in his pocket. And also, in terms of League 2, I know we've got a Plymouth Argyle fan in the room, on the show. Plymouth Argyle won their first, like I said, away game was it nearly 3 or 4 years against AFC Wimbledon. Again, AFC Wimbledon were, like I said, started very well. Like I said, they had quite a few corners, but Plymouth managed to pick them off with a couple of goals. Just remembering, looking at my notes from Wild and Carey. So that is the League 2 roundup. In League 1, we had relegating Millwall, who won at Shrewsbury. And one of their players who got one of their goals, Gregory got the penalty after Shrewsbury went 1-0, was the returning Morrison, because he scored one of Millwall's goals when they originally got promoted into the Championship over 4 years ago. He had a good career at Norwich. However, he fell out with Chris Hughton. He went to Leeds, but he's his spiritual home, which is Millwall FC, and hopefully Millwall are looking to bounce straight back into the Championship under the management of Neil Harris. In the Championship, we had another London derby, very poignant game between Charlton and their West London rivals Queen's Park Rangers, where major talking point of the Valley was Charlie Austin. How long would anyone make a bid of Charlie Austin? Because at the moment, Queen's Park Rangers got a valuation of £15 million on Charlie Austin, and we've heard murmurs that maybe Tottenham Hotspur may be interested, to assist with Harry Kane, or hearing stories about Newcastle or West Ham. Austin played. He said he didn't play too well. He worked hard, very good account of himself, but QPR were undone with by a mistake by Robert Green for the first goal, Charlton's first goal, and a 2-0 defeat, and then they tailored off, and then Charlton wrapped up in the 75th minute. In the 12 o'clock game, we had a game between Fulham, who Yusuf supports, against Cardiff in the 12 o'clock kickoff. I don't know why that was during that time. It's not really a good time to have a game of that magnitude, especially with when the pubs are still open in Cardiff. But Fulham went 1-0 up for a goalkeeping mistake, making through Matt Smith, and then Cardiff made a good equaliser, made it 1-1. But the game of the day had to be at Griffin Park, where Brentford managed to claw back a 2-0 deficit to 2-2, where Andre Gray pulled one back in the second half. Speaking of Andre Gray's currently focus of interest from Hull City, who are looking to bounce straight back, and they've made Brentford an offer in order to get Brentford star striker. So Brentford should be doing a lot to try and keep hold of him. So, during that segment, we're talking about Brentford. Ipswich managed to do the double over Brentford last season, and Brentford did very well to come back. Obviously, they're under new management after the interference from Matthew Brentford mentioned, but he was looking for a more continental approach, and judging off of what I saw with Brentford, they do tend to play a more passing game. I think under Warburton they were very more direct, but obviously we need to. I think most of our fans are looking at the Premiership. We're going to start at Stamford Bridge, where there was a very alleged controversial movement, where apparently Chelsea are in the process of appealing them Theobald Courtois' red card. I don't see personally from a footballing standpoint why that should happen.
Well, they can't. They've got no reason to appeal that. I mean, there's
actually
no
not, because if you look at it closely, it wasn't closely. Gomez is going through on goal. It's on the line. Courtois taking him out. There's a lot of conjecture that Gary Cahill was probably the last defender, but he was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near it. If Gomez goes past Courtois, he puts the ball in the empty net. So I don't see why Chelsea have got any grounds for complaint. But obviously, there's another soundbite where Jose Mourinho is allegedly having a go at Eva Canario. Now, Eva Canario is a crowd favourite at Chelsea. She's got a lot of sympathy. I think once again, as much as I'm a massive admirer of Jose Mourinho, I think one of the major things that Mourinho tends to do very skillfully is that he tries to deflect from any problems they have in the pitch, especially dropping points to Swansea. He was very good value, by the way, for their point. All of a sudden, instead of everyone talking about Swansea's performance, they're talking about the sending off, and Jose Mourinho having a go at his medical staff because they were treating as hazard. I don't know what Jose Mourinho expects the team doctors do when a player goes down. Where I come from, if someone's injured, you go and treat them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The welfare of the player is the most important thing. Not, we've only got 9 players on the pitch.
Yeah.
No, the welfare of the player comes first. That's why Mourinho needs to shut up.
But unfortunately, it makes a lot of news. It takes the heat off the players, takes the heat of Mourinho, and it's another standpoint. Again, Mourinho's very clever at this. He did this very well when he was in his first spell at Chelsea. He was very successful at that in Internacional. Obviously, at Real Madrid, the Spanish newspapers weren't having any of that.
Good.
And obviously, we go to Goodison Park. We're newly promoted Watford. Got a credible 2-2 draw at Goodison Park. Obviously, there's speculation at Goodison Park because Chelsea have been told to up their bid to John Stones for 34 million. Again, you can see why a player who's got very limited Premiership experience costs that much money is another question. But Watford, worth their titular. They went ahead in the first half, and then they went 2-1 up by the Nigerian Igalo, and he only took for a Ronnie Kone to save their blushes. And then another major match was obviously involving a newly promoted side was Norwich against Crystal Palace. Again, early in the week, Alan Pardew set a target for the Eagles for them getting into Europe. And he cited the fact that they made some great signings. Obviously, they've signed Connor Wickham. They've got Bakary Sacco, and obviously they got the existing players like Yannick Bolasie, who they should keep hold of, and obviously they want Wilfried Zaha, who scored at the weekend. And I think there was a controversial moment where Norwich had a goal disallowed because of foot up, but again, safety of players counts more than obviously an overhead kick. So it looked like dangerous play to me, and I've got no complaints by that. And obviously a London side doing well, I'm very happy with that. But obviously I had one eye in that game because I'd be attending Selhurst Park, so I'd be able to see Crystal Palace in the flesh. But one thing that Crystal Palace displayed a lot was they had great organisation and great pace in their team, and I think that's if they can get Conor Wickham scoring and probably get another striker, that's probably where I think they may just realise their dream. However, talking to Crystal Palace and obviously we've made London clubs, Fulham are still looking at Dwight Gale to either join in loan or join on a full-time basis. Obviously, they're looking to bounce back, training the Premiership, and get into playoffs. So Dwight Gale, with obviously with their the acquisition of Conor Wickham, Dwight Gale was probably going to be surplus to requirements. So I think that'd be a great move to him. And obviously, Glenn Murray, there's still the talk of Glenn Murray going to Bournemouth. But again, 2 more matches involving the North London sides. First, it was the lunchtime kickoff involving Man United and Tottenham Hotspur. Looking at the first half, up until Man United scored in the 22nd minutes, I thought Tottenham looked like the best side. They were getting behind Man United. Ericsson and McCain were linking very well, and I thought there was Ericsson and really should have put Spurs ahead when McCain put a loop pass, and he managed to chip the ball over the bar. But after Man United scored at the beginning of the second half, Man United looked they looked sort of disjointed, but they looked quite in control. It's only when they made the substitutions when both sides made substitutions, when Lamela came on, that Spurs looked like they might have nicked it, but it was probably down to Chris Smalling, a man of match performance from Chris Smalling, which actually kept the score at 1-1. But if you look at Tottenham Hotspur, if Tottenham Hotspur do want to get in the top 4, they need to sign and definitely get a striker to help Harry Kane, because I think defence is going to be more aware of Harry Kane. In fact, I think that he's going to be subject to a lot of team talks. So that is one area that I think Spurs need to strengthen. And also, they need to get someone who controls the midfield as well, because I think obviously Ericsson's a great ball player, but he's more sort of his best position is behind the strikers. He's not the sort of person who, like Modric, who could actually dictate the midfield. Now, last but not least, I probably don't want to talk about, we talked about it before, was the London derby where East London and the EastEnders return of spoils. Talking of the match briefly, I'll repeat what. Excellent value for that win. Totally the better side. They're better in the small department. They defended better. Their strikers worked harder. The midfield, they dominated. Noble had a fantastic game. Obviously, Reece Oxford took all the spoils. But one player, I think, I think that this segment should look out for is Dimitri Payet. He had a fantastic game. Fantastic game. He was very strong on the ball. He's a good runner off the ball, and his passing was excellent. In fact, he looked more like a £42 million player than Ozil, which is shocking. Again, the jury's out on Ozil, and obviously it's jury out of Theo, because I'm actually don't want to big myself up too much, but I'm actually doing some writing for Viva Football Cash, and I wrote a couple of articles on both Theo Walcott and Mesut Ozil. Walcott. I find it very difficult to envisage how Theo Walcott can get into that Arsenal team if everyone's fit. I mean, I can't see him playing ahead of the Ox on the right hand side, because the Ox looks a better bet in that position. Obviously, up front, if he persists with.
Oh, Kenny, you still there? Oh. I think Kenny's connection might have dropped. Yeah, I think Kenny's connection might have dropped out, but we'll try and get Kenny back. But yeah, as Kenny was saying, in terms of playing, in terms of fitting in Walcott, that's going to be a difficult one, because Walcott wants to play up top, but when Sanchez is fit, are you mad? It ain't gonna happen. So it's kind of one of them ones where it's kind of a conundrum. I mean, I personally wouldn't. I personally wouldn't start Walcott up top when Sanchez is fit. But then you've got, what about when Welbeck's fit? What about when Giroud's fit? So when everybody's fit, is it gonna happen? That's the one. I mean, Kenny, are you back with us?
I'm back with you. Sorry about that.
Nah,
I think what it was is that I didn't put enough 50p's in the meter, and I think London Electricity, like I said, cut me off. You know they're like, innit? I think I should go to May Eon. They get a much better service in Eon. But saying that, my point regarding Theo Walcott, that is, I think, if you talk to a lot of Arsenal fans, some of them laughingly call him world class. Some.
Oh, Kenny, you're breaking up quite badly. You still there with us?
So.
Oh.
You still here?
Yeah, just about. You are breaking up quite badly, though. Oh, okay. All right, we're gonna have to try and get Kenny back when possible. Kenny, you still there with us?
Hello, I'm still with you. I'm still here. My speakers are on.
Oh, there we go. No, you were just breaking up quite badly, but you may as well round out anyway.
Yeah. Well, just rounding up the point about Theo Walcott is that, in 10 years at Arsenal, we're still saying, "Oh, this is going to be Theo's season. When is he going to like I say, make a break to the first team?" Because he joined us, a great amount of fanfare as a 17-year-old. But to me, personally, he's flat to deceive. And at this stage, he should really make a position in team his own. Mesut Ozil for itself, he's cost a lot of money. I've just been watching the Man City game. David Silva, who on a consistent basis, we get 8 out of 10 performances for him. If you spend £42 million on a player, surely I should be getting out of 80% of his performances should be 8 out of 10 performances. Surely the panel would agree with me on that.
No, definitely. Oh, definitely agree with you on that one. And on the subject of Man City, that was a nice segue, because West Bromwich Albion 0, Manchester City 3 is a final score. Yaya Toure on 9 and 24 minutes, and Kompany on 59 minutes. Now, just to kind of round out the London teams roundup, Kenny. Just want to ask you, who out of the London teams impressed you the most this week, and who has let you down the most, apart from Arsenal? Who's let you down?
I'm not going to swear. That's an emotional subject, but
oh, Kenny, do you want to start that again? You're breaking up. Do you want to start that again? Because you're breaking up quite bad.
Because of their performance, but it's obviously the team that. Again, the team that impressed me greatly was probably Crystal Palace, because I think they're a team that on their day they can do anyone. I mean, we've got a few Liverpool fans on the panel, and I don't want to upset anyone, but you had to see their performance when they crashed Steven Gerrard loving last season.
Yeah, we'll not talk about that too much.
We're not talking about it, but it just showed you that on their day, if Crystal Palace get it right, especially with their pacey players, they're very dangerous. Yeah. They're a very dangerous team. I think one thing that they need to sort out is at set pieces. They are, for a big team, especially when you've got someone like Scott Dan in there, they still seem to concede silly goals from set pieces. But they're it was probably their performance and West Ham's performance impressed me greatly. Obviously, Watford did very well to get a point at Goodison Park, and obviously Leyton Orient won the London Derby, and obviously Millwall played very well. But really and truly, it's Crystal Palace. I think West Ham. We should keep our eyes on Crystal Palace and West Ham, because they're going to create a lot of noise. And obviously in the others, in the lower leagues, keep one eye on Brentford. They've got new management. They've got a different side of play, but they can keep hold of Andre Gray. They'll do great guns. Fulham as well, if they can get Dwight Gale and Dwight Gale can develop their game, who knows? But before I go, there's some games in the league, Capital One Cup. Yusuf is going to will be at the Wickham Wanderers Fulham game. He's actually trying to drag me along. So, like I said, if I haven't got anything to do and I probably need somewhere to sleep, I'll probably bring a pillow with me to go and watch the Wickham Wanderers Fulham game. But, thanks for having me on and having this roundup. Yusuf will speak to you in 2 weeks' time, and obviously we'll be regulars, hopefully. Maybe one of our London clubs will win the Premiership.
See, I'm not. I don't want one of the London clubs to win the Premiership, of course, because I don't.
Oh, why is that?
Because I don't support a London club. So, but leaving that aside, it is one of them. Was Kenny? Thank you, a big thank you to you and Yusuf for joining your Monday Night Football in Fix, and of course, brand new segment, Kenny and Yusuf's London Football Roundup. This will be a fortnightly segment. So it is one of them ones. Cannot wait for the next installments of the roundup as well. Kenny, how can we get in touch with you and Yusuf on Twitter? And also, you're going to be blogging for Pitch Talk as well, aren't you? Oh, Kenny, are you still there? Oh, okay.
Still there. I'll just turn off the mute button because I didn't want to sort of interfere with the coverage.
But yeah, how can we get in touch? How can we get in touch with you on the social networks? And also, you're going to be blogging for Pitch Talk as well, aren't you?
I hope so. I hope I've got some news for you. You can get in touch with me on at KennyKen1972. That's very easy. If you want to tweet me any questions about the London clubs, or you want to have a debate about Arsenal, I won't bore you to tears about Arsene Wenger in or Wenger out, because as far as I know, he's got a 2-year contract, and he's a man in possession. So I don't want to upset anyone.
Hey, we're all about honest. We're all about honest opinion here. So.
Absolutely. Also, to get my contact deals for Yusuf as well, because I don't see any reason why he should be exempt from the Pitch Talk jury. So I'm going to get his contact deals. You can spare with me 1 minute.
Of course.
Won't be too long.
Be one of them ones, man. But whilst you're getting those details for you, so if you just want to read out a text that we've gotten through from a certain someone that we did mention earlier in the show. He says, "Good evening, guys. Hope you're well and enjoying the new season. I know I am, especially after a terrific 2-0 away win at Stevenage this weekend. Sorry, Mike, I had to. I'm going to be down Huddersfield for our first round Capital One Cup game tomorrow. So hopefully get another good result tomorrow as well. We'll be back when I'm feeling 100%. Over and out from Meadow Lane. Big T. We always throw them T's up for Big T. So swag. Good stuff. Kenny, have you got the details for Yusuf yet before we
I have got the details for Yusuf. It's at Yusuf J. So it's Yusuf YUSUF JAY 84. So it's at Yusuf J 84. You can follow us on Twitter. You know, like if you want any ask us any questions about the London clubs, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Any histories, any big games concerning London clubs, maybe big cup runs for previous years. Wimbledon winning 98 FA Cup, the first London Cup final in 1967. Any historical questions, you just ask us, because we actually did a show last year covering the London. The All-London League Cup final between Chelsea and Spurs. Obviously, I was devastated as Tottenham lost. Yeah. It was like a very somber moment in my part of North London. It was so somber that we were basically laughing our heads off with our legs in the air.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Actually, funnily enough, Pitch Talk at the Cup finals, you will find our Pitch Talk at the Capital One Cup final video where we were interviewing Chelsea and Spurs fans before and after the match as well. Our newest video will also be coming soon as well. Pitch Talk at the Women's FA Cup final. That is coming soon. And we've got a shed load of extras as well coming with that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Kenny, a big time shout out and a big time thank you to you and Yusuf for the London football round up, and we cannot wait for future installments. Remember, at Yusuf J YUSUF JAY 84 on Twitter, and also at KennyKen 1972 on Twitter as well. Give them guys a follow and tell them that PT Live sent you. #PT Live. It's one of them ones. You know what? It is one of them ones where we are just going to take a quick pause for the calls. Remember, West Bromwich Albion 0, Manchester City 3 was a full-time score in the Barclays Premier League with Yaya Toure on 9 and 24 minutes and Vincent Kompany on 59 minutes getting the goals. And also a big shout out to Tom Wood, who's joined us in the Skype chat as well. You know what? It's time for us to go into a quick pause for the cause, so we will see you in a couple of minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pitch Talk proudly presents a full sit-down interview with a level 5 referee operating in Southern Amateur League and more. For 2 years, he was club secretary for a football club in Burnt Oak. In April 2015, he was elected AFA Youth Council Chairman. His aims include having input on development and more.
To ask Darrell a question during our special interview, email pitchtalk@gmail.com and put Darrell David in the subject line. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Coming soon. The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
G-Man.
Samir Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
I'm Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/Pitch Talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Your Monday night footballing fix, Pitch Talk, is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich. Simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproductions.co.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video encoding for the web, including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in touch at www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
the one-stop shop for all your coaching needs, Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitelinemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at stormfm.net.
Two girls with their bunny Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Russ Vernon.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Generally, talking points.
Straight shooting LJA, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle. Present to you your Monday night footballing fix. Cause the pitch is where we eat, sleep, and also talk. Why? Cause this is Pitch Talk. I love it. Tom Woods had -5 stars in the chat. We haven't even had to drop that yet. We haven't even had to drop that soundbite yet. But it is one of them ones. It is one of them ones. Wait, transfers. Lee Tomlin joins Bournemouth from Middlesbrough. Bournemouth have signed Middlesbrough forward Lee Tomlin on a 3-year deal for £3 million. 26-year-old joined Borough in January 2014 for £1.5 million after 4 years at Peterborough. He scored 10 times in 50 appearances last season as Middlesbrough lost to Norwich in the Championship play-off final. Speaking of Bournemouth, staying with them, Max Gradle. Bournemouth signed Ivory Coast forward. This is also from Tuesday, 4th of August 2015. Bournemouth have signed former Leeds United forward Max Gradle from St Etienne for an undisclosed fee. The Premier League newcomers have agreed a 4-year deal with the 27-year-old. He joined St Etienne for 18 months after moving to Leeds and was leading scorer in League 1 last season with 17 goals. Sergio Molina has joined Stoke on a 3-year contract, also from Tuesday, 4th of August 2015. Stoke have completed the signing of Sergio Molina from Real Madrid, and the 19-year-old has agreed a 3-year deal. The well-regarded defensive midfielder has come through the ranks at Real and will initially become a member of the under-21 squad at Stoke. A part of the Real youth system since he was just 9, Molina has captained the Spanish side at every level from under 10 to under 19. Paul Konchesky joins Queen's Park Rangers from Leicester City. QPR signed former England left-back, using that term very loosely, Paul Konchesky on a season-long loan from Leicester City. The 34-year-old has played for 7 other clubs since 1997. As well. I can't wait to get going and help this club bounce back from last season's relegation, said Konchesky. Crystal Palace signed Connor Wickham from Sunderland. This is from the 3rd of August 2015. Crystal Palace signed Connor Wickham from Sunderland on a 5-year deal for an initial £7 million. He was an £8 million signing from Ipswich in 2011. And signed a 4-year deal with Sunderland in December. But one of them was the fee for Wickham going to Palace could rise to $9 million, depending on his performances at Selhurst Park. Rudy Gestede and Jordan Veritout signed for Aston Villa. Aston Villa completed the signings of Blackburn striker Rudy Gestede and non-midfielder Jordan Veritout. Gestede 26 and Veritout 22. Both signed 5-year deals for undisclosed fees. Theo Walcott and Santi Cazorla signed Arsenal contract extensions from 31st of July 2015. The 26-year-old Walcott has scored 50 league goals and 208 appearances since signing from Southampton in 06 in a deal worth up to £12.5 million. Spain midfielder Santi Cazorla, who's 30, has also signed a new deal, extending his terms for another 2 years. Riyad Mahrez, as mentioned earlier, Leicester City winger signs new contract from 5th of August 2015. Winger Riyad Mahrez has extended his contract with Leicester City until the end of the 2018-19 season. The 24-year-old Algerian national, who backed the braces past weekend, has played 51 games, now 52, and has scored 9 goals now. Ricky Lambert, Liverpool confirmed on 31st of July that Ricky Lambert completed a permanent switch to West Bromwich Albion. The boyhood Reds fan sealed a move from Anfield to Southampton. From Southampton to Anfield last summer to cap a meteoric rise for the divisions. But now he's set for a new challenge with Tony Pulis' baggies. Angel Di Maria, Manchester United midfielder, joins PSG on the 6th of August 2015. Paris Saint-Germain finally completed the signing of Manchester United midfielder Angel Di Maria for a fee of £44.3 million. The Argentina international leaves United just a year after they paid Real Madrid a British record of £59.7 million. He's 27 and has signed a 4-year deal with the French champions. Yanam Villa signs for Sunderland on a season-long loan from Russian club Rubin Kazan. This was confirmed on August 6, 2015. The 22-year-old who has 22 caps is the Black Cats' 5th summer signing. Now, a couple of other signings that have happened that have actually happened as well within the last 48 or so hours. We are going to go. Actually, you know what? Let's stick with this one. Salomon Rondon, West Brom was signed striker for club record £12 million. West Brom have signed him from Zenit St. Petersburg for a club fee, record fee of around $12 million. The Venezuela international, who's 25, has agreed a 4-year contract to become the Baggies' 5th summer signing. He wasn't eligible for the 3-0 defeat against Manchester City because this was not confirmed until August 10th today, this deal, so he wasn't. Now, also, Stefan Jovetic has also left Man City for Inter Milan as well. There are kind of conflicting reports as to what the price was, so we're not going to delve too deeply into that. But in terms of transfers, quite a lot to digest there. G-Man, you want to You want to start the ball rolling on dissecting these?
Well, yeah. First of all, I'd like to just congratulate Rudy Gestede on his move to Aston Villa. Because I think I was saying last season when I think it was when Blackburn played Liverpool in, I think it was the FA Cup, wasn't it?
Yes, okay. Let's keep taking shots. Come on.
No. I'm not saying that, but at the time, I'd say he quite impressed me in the first leg of that game. Because I think it was the first game was a draw, and partly because he was just powerful. He had great vision, and he had an eye for goals. And this is what the upgrade he has been working for. And I think at Aston Villa, as we saw at the weekend, he scored his debut goal, and he's going to be a problem. He is going to be a problem. So I think that's a good sturdy buy from Villa, and it's not a Benteke replacement in terms of like for like, but it's someone that's capable of doing something good. Theo Walcott is another I just want to touch on. Contrary to what Kenny was saying earlier on, I think Theo signing a new contract is what we really need. We need Theo. It maybe is a bit of hope, but we need Theo to be fit for this season. I think his pace alone makes him, frightening for most teams in the Premiership. He's not the most skillful players, or he hasn't really shown it yet. He's not as deadly as they make him out to be in front of goal. Yet a lot of strong words come out and say he is a clinical finisher in training. We haven't quite seen that yet. But it's partly because of fitness to why we haven't seen this from Theo, my point of view, because he has had long layoffs through injury, and hopefully this year he does remain fit and he warrants his 140 grand a week contract. Connor Wickham, never. I gotta say, good signing from the guy that I don't really like to praise too often, but I think Connor Wickham again. He like Gestede's, like Theo, fit. He's going to get goals. He's at least going to get Crystal Palace 10 to 12 goals this season. So.
Did you want to go over some of the others?
Di Maria to PSG.
That's a mad one.
That one there is, I think Man United have lost a very good player. I think, he was semi-ill-treated at United. He showed the glimpses of what he actually can achieve, what he can do, and what he can provide for a team on the attacking front and the creativity front. I think Louis van Gaal last season, used him as a scapegoat, because Van Gaal basically didn't know his formation. He didn't know his team. He was playing some 3-5-2 business where he had Di Maria at times out of position, and it was just, if you're coming from a big team like Real Madrid, where you know your position, but there's a lot of competition, and then you're coming to a team, another supposed big team, and then all of a sudden they're playing you out of position. It's not easy for any player. And as you know, on the Saturday League, Liam, it's not easy when you're not played in your usual position, no matter how good you are or how competent you are. It is very difficult. And some of those performances seen by Di Maria last season, that's what showed. Well, from my personal opinion, that's what the results were. And I think after he got sent off in the Arsenal game, he never got his position back in the team, really and truthfully. And I don't know. I just think Man United, they've lost a great player in Di Maria. They've gone and got Depay as a replacement, and he still needs to find his mold in the team. So we'll see in it. We'll see whether that is good business or not.
But what do you reckon of the conspiracy theory that Di Maria was just playing for his next move, which just so happened to be the PSG move, if that conspiracy theory is to be believed?
Well, to be honest, I don't believe it because, as I said, Man United are on the same level in terms of, you know, recent years or decades of form. Yeah, they're on the same level as Real Madrid, Barcelona, you know, PSG. You know, however you see it, PSG are quite new actually. You know, since the heavy investment they've had from, you know, from the Middle East. So Man United are technically a bigger team than PSG. So why he wouldn't want to perform for Man United, you know, with a quality manager like Van Gaal doesn't make sense. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Oh no, that's why I just thought I'd throw it out there because I've seen it bandied about as a conspiracy theory. It actually does sound laughable, but I mean United, that's quite a loss actually on bloody Di Maria, and it's one of them ones. I mean, he kind of got the Moyes treatment. He was basically the scapegoat and only got one season, which is a bit of a shame. But when you pay nearly £60 million for a player, you do expect them to hit the ground running. And he just wasn't as good as everyone was expecting. Because at the end of the day, he is a good player, no doubt. But I just think he didn't fit. The square peg, round hole, it just didn't fit. Lee Tomlin going to Bournemouth from Middlesbrough. That is good strengthening. Same with Max Gradle as well. I mean, it's a case of Bournemouth have done quite a bit of business. Watford did their business early and often. Norwich are the ones who I think are going right back down, like I said 2 weeks ago. They haven't really strengthened too much. Molina going to Stoke is an interesting one because Stoke have been taking on a lot of players from Barcelona, really, like Afalai among others, who kind of didn't really make the grade there. But those are good, solid buys for Stoke. I mean, the way Mark Hughes is changing that side, they're rigid at the back and can still hurt you on set pieces. But at the same time, one of them ones, they can play on the deck as well. They're not just a one-dimensional team like they were in the early days, at least under Pulis. Paul Konchesky going to Queen's Park Rangers is hilarious. That is hilarious. Paul Konchesky, I thought for a long time, poor. West Ham, yeah, he looked good. Not great, but good. And then we signed him for Liverpool, and it was like, I could do a better job. Connor Wickham going to Palace. I'm kind of surprised by that. I disagree with what Kenny said earlier, though, about Dwight Gale potentially being surplus to requirements, because Connor Wickham will be signed as a striker. Oddly enough, as kind of back up to Marouane Chamakh. I guess in your perspective, G-Man, less said about Chamakh, the better. But anyway, Cal's backside banjo, fill in your own adjectives. Connor Wickham, I think could do well. I mean, he's still 22. So he could do well. I agree with you. I think he still could do quite well. Rudy Gestede, good player. Like he legitimately gave Liverpool heart palpitations. So he's one of them was very good signing, and he's already scored as well. So one of them ones. Walcott and Cazorla signing contract extensions. Not really breaking news. We've got to break into programming and talk about that one. Fact of the matter is, it's good holding on to quality players, but with Walcott, it's a case of you can't make a living off potential. You got to get it done. Just like what Jim Ross said about the big show at WrestleMania X7, aka 17. It's one of them ones. There we go. You can't make a living off potential. You got to get it done. Riyad Mahrez signed a new contract. Very good for Leicester City. Holding on to him. That's the important thing. Especially as though, Jamie Vardy has been involved in an incident and we don't know what's going to happen with that one. Ricky Lambert, kind of sad to see him leave, but he just didn't cut the mustard at Liverpool. He really didn't. So it's one of them it was good that he got to play for us. He got to play for us for a season, got to live a dream, but I think he can kick on at West Brom. I think Pulis can get something good out of him. So it's one of them ones. Fair dues to Ricky Lambert. He tried, didn't go so well. It's one of them ones. Good luck to him. Yanam Villa was a surprise. Going from Ruben Kazan to Sunderland, must have been regretting that decision after the weekend. But he's been linked to Yann Villa was linked to quite a few big clubs, similar to Sheridan Shaqiri, linked to quite a few big clubs. What? As little as a year or two ago. So for him to end up going to Sunderland is actually quite surprising.
I want to ask you a question about not just Villa, but mostly the Stoke signings, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you touched on the point of, Stoke changing their footballing style now. Now, I just want to ask you it's two questions actually. Them changing their footballing style, do you think they're trying to change it too quick, too soon? And not just that, do you think it could be detrimental? Because if these players like Bojan, like Shaqiri start performing, other clubs will then come in and nick them season afterwards, like you was talking about a stepping stone with Di Maria at Man United.
I would say no in terms of the changing of the style too quickly, because it's one of them ones. Mark Hughes has laid these foundations over a good couple of years now that he's been with Stoke, so I wouldn't say it's too quickly. Plus, he's also keeping the physical side in. So you've got some players that can still bully players off the ball, but also you've got some technically gifted players in there as well. It's a nice little mix for Stoke. So I don't think he's changed. I don't think he's changing too much too soon. I just say, what was the other question?
The other question was about potentially them having a beyond good season, but then finding out they're going to lose players because they're just using Stoke as a stepping stone.
Yeah, that's one of them ones where if players are going to use you as a stepping stone, like Lassana Diarra did at Portsmouth a few years back, if players are going to use you as a stepping stone, you really can't stop them doing it. And if they're going to use you as a stepping stone, you may as well say, well, we're going to get the absolute best out of you. Because it's one of them was usually it's clubs that will use players up and spit them out when they're done with them. If players are doing that to clubs instead of clubs doing that to players, it's kind of turnabout is fair play. I would see it as that way. What do you reckon? I'll throw those two questions back at you before we throw out to the Skypers.
Well, I guess the question about the stepping stone is I'm fearful for Stoke. As like I said, the playing style, they were quite rigid, strong. They, not saying it was all about long ball, but that was part of their game. Now they're playing this more continental football where they're keeping it on the floor. Buying players of that sort of caliber as well. Players that come from clubs legitimately like Barcelona, top clubs in the world. Yeah. And I can't see them wanting to stay at Stoke for years on end. Maybe that's a bit biased, but I just can't see it. And I just have a fear if they do have a good season, big bids will end up coming in for players like this because on their CV, they've already got big clubs on their CV. And then where do Stoke turn to? Like, all right, they'll get investment into the club, money-wise, but will they then have the firepower then to buy the next great talents or players that were equally as good? And that's just my fear for a club like that in that position.
No, I mean, some clubs are just always going to be in that position. So just get the best out of them while you can. I mean, Ryan Sonley, you wanted to jump in on some of these transfers before we move on.
Yeah. Lee Tomlin going to Bournemouth, obviously, for a player, Peterborough as well. Forgetting that because he came through league football.
So, but what do you think of him going to Bournemouth?
To be honest, him going to Bournemouth, I think it's a good move. I mean, we paid $1.5 million for him, and he's gone to Bournemouth for $3 million plus 500,000 in add-ons as well, which I'm pretty impressed because obviously we're obviously needing money as well because we're trying to get back into the Prem, and I think them signing Max Gradle, I think he'll get them 10-15 goals this season if he stays injury free. Di Maria going to PSG, I think that was an absolute joke because obviously he went from Real Madrid to Man U for 59.7 million and then gone to PSG for 44.3 million. I mean, 15 million loss because, I mean, they've lost more because obviously wages as well. Because, but I think it's a diabolical decision for him to do that. And I mean, for him not to turn up at Man U's tour of America either, which was pretty poor from him. And I think Affalay and all that are signed for Stoke and that, I think they'll become a good few players because obviously they're going to gel to that. I mean, he's not going to play. It looks like that Mark Hughes ain't going to be playing that launch ball up to Peter Crouch or whoever who's going to be up front because they're going to have wingers that can run at defenders and cross a ball. I mean, Affalay he was brilliant yesterday. He looked really sharp. And I'm glad to see him in the Premiership. I mean, I thought he would have been a cut for Barca in a few years' time, but obviously didn't get that chance.
Well, I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, not every player. I mean, not every player ends up making the grade at Barcelona. I mean, that's a very elite class. So it is. I mean, it is one of them ones. Barcelona's supposed loss is going to be very much Stoke's game, especially when it has been recently because of the little deal that they've got with them. So, well, because the deal they've got with them, it's a case of it's working. I mean, Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in before we have to move on.
Yes, because it's about the Max Gradle deal to Bournemouth. I don't know if you know this name, but do you when he went to St Etienne from Leeds United, Leeds had a sell-on clause, and Adam Pearson said it last week on Ned 2 Live, which Brad mentioned in the chat room earlier, that we've got a percentage, which I think he said 10%, 10 or 20%. He says so. We're getting about between 500,000 and 1.4 million, which is a good bit of business. He's a good player. I think he'll do well for Bournemouth. I think he'll do well in the Premier League. I think Lee Tomlin is another good signing for Bournemouth. I think he'll do well for them. I think also too, who signed Adebayo last week, Liam. I think he's going to be a big signing for them and a big loss for Bournemouth.
Well, let's stick to the signings that we've mentioned. Let's stick to the signings that we've mentioned just because of time. But what do you think of the other signings that we've mentioned?
Yeah, I think Gestede move to Aston Villa is already paid off. He's got a fantastic header against Bournemouth at the weekend, and I think it's going to improve Villa's attack strike force. I don't think it's going to be a the replacement for Benteke, though. I think we've got someone else lined up for that, but who is that? I don't know. And I think Stokes made some good signings, like Ryan said in the fall. Farley from Barcelona and a few others. I think he had a good debut yesterday, Farley, against Liverpool, although none of the Stoke strikers could get an end of the courses he was making. So I think Stoke have made some good signings with them as well. So I think some good signings overall in what you've mentioned so far, some good signings overall in the transfer window so far, Liam, for all Premiership clubs in League One and League Two and Championship as well.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, a big welcome to JBK, aka JB Bailey, just in time. But but you know what? It is one of them ones. There's been a lot of business done, and there's going to be a lot more business to do. So it is one of them ones. But you know what? Because of time, baby, it is one of them ones where it is time for us to move on to another segment of the show. We are hitting home straight, so we're going to go into just a bit of. Yes, it's grassroots. We start off with Ibis FC of the Southern Amateur League. IbisFC.co.uk is the official website. At Ibis_football on Twitter. Give Ibis a follow, and also facebook.com/IBIS.FC. IbisFootballClub@gmail.com is where you need to email if you want to play for the club. We're an 11-a-side team. We've got 3 teams in the Southern Amateur League, which is the 14SAL at 14SAL at FOURTEENSAL on Twitter, and www.southernamateurleague.co.uk, which is a part of the Amateur Football Alliance, at Amateur FA on Twitter, and www.amateurfa.com. Ibis FC training every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. down at Battersea Park at the all-weather AstroTurf. Pitches and matches are Saturdays. We've got our club day coming up on the 22nd. So it's one of them. Keep your eyes peeled on what's going on with that. The boys played BB Eagles this past weekend. I think it was a 6-1 defeat in pre-season. I think it was that. But it is one of them ones. 22nd of August is club day, and Saturday, September 5th is the start of the season. So if you know anyone in West London interested in 11-a-side football, get in touch. IbisFootballClub@gmail.com is where you need to email. Also, a big time shout out to Hackney Wick FC as well. Big time shout outs at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter. Give them a shout. Also give them a shout on their website as well. Hackney Wick, www.hackneywickfc.com. Go to their contacts page for information on playing. And also drop them a line if you want to play for them, if you are in the Hackney/Hackney Wick area as well. Big shout outs to @BeautifulGame15 on Twitter. 2 men in search of the beautiful game on Facebook. That's Daniel Magnar and Tom Sparks as well. Big time shout outs to them too. As said, at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter, and www.hackneywickfc.com, the newly formed Hackney Wick FC, who pitch talk on the road at Hackney Wick FC. We were down there on July 11th as well. So it was one of them ones. We saw the birth of a club. YouTube.com/pitch talk is where you can find that video. Now, I wanted to give a big shout out to at Hitchin Town FC on Twitter, because they're into their last couple of days of and they need pledges to start the rebuild of Topfield. Every £1 helps their club and community. So crowdfunder.co.uk/rebuild HTFC. crowdfunder.co.uk/rebuild HTFC. For more information on that, at Hitchin Town FC on Twitter. Now, the project is, after 25 years of stagnation following legal battles with our landowners, we are raising funds to rebuild a sustainable community non-league football club for future generations of our town. Hitchin Town Football Club is an English semi-pro side based in Hitchin, Hertfordshire, with a proud tradition of being a community football club. We compete in the Southern Football League's Premier Division, and were founded in 1928, claiming lineage from the defunct Hitchin Football Club filmed in 1865. Hitchin Town have been based at Topfield since their foundation, and this year celebrate the 150th year anniversary of the club's formation of the Forerunner Club. Now the battle with their owners for over a decade, the club has been battling its landowners, the Hitchin Cow Commoners Trust, who wanted to relocate the club to an out-of-town site and permit a property developer to build a supermarket on the site at Topfield, which, as well as being disastrous for supporters, would have been detrimental to local independent businesses and the livelihoods of those who own and work in them. In December 2014, over 1,000 people turned out for a protest march to demonstrate the actions of the landowners. There is no doubt the message the protest march sent out was instrumental in affecting the decision of the developer not to proceed with a planning application. The great news is that we now have a 25-year lease that does not expire until 2039. Stage 2 of the campaign now begins in earnest, and this is why they're raising funds. The current state of facilities at Topfield is no longer acceptable, and with a long lease now secured, the opportunity is there to start regenerating the stadium. It is essential now that we move forward after 25 years of stagnation and the uneven battle to keep plugging holes that has been the nature of our fight to keep the current stadium in a usable condition must now be replaced by the need to rebuild top field and move the club into the 21st century. Any money we raise will be used strictly for rebuilding top field. The estimated cost of rebuilding will come to around £2 million, £250K for per main stand, 200 to 500K for a new pitch, as well as funds needed for the clubhouse, floodlights, changing rooms and planning application. Whilst we appreciate that we are not going to raise all of this through donations, any money raised through this campaign will allow us to start the process. So it is one. There was a project plan will be established depending on how much they raise, and their priorities will be communicated in due course. Now they're raising funds to help rebuild, so they're asking for people to kindly donate from just £1 to help preserve this historic football club for future generations. The crowdfunding site uses debit card, credit card, and PayPal. But if you prefer to donate by check, then please make it payable to Save HTFC and send to the following address: Save HTFC, CO Mr. Roy Izzard, Bradshaw Johnson Chartered Accountants, 11 Bancroft, Hitchin, Hots SG51JQ, and that website is www.crowdfunder.co.uk/rebuildhtfc. So crowdfunder.co.uk/rebuildhtfc. Just wanted to give a huge shout out to Hitchin Town FC in regards to that, at Hitchin Town FC. So you can get involved in helping Hitchin Town. If you're a player, you can of course get involved with helping Hackney Wick FC as well. www.hackneywickfc.com. Go to the contacts page, get in touch with them, and also Ibis FC as well, who I am proud to play for, and the G-Man as well. So it's one of them was ibisfootballclub@gmail.com. If you want to play for us, then ibisfootballclub@gmail.com is where you need to email. We are taking on players. And once again, that information for Hitchin Town at Hitchin Town FC on Twitter, and crowdfunder.co.uk/rebuildhtfc. crowdfunder.co.uk/rebuildhtfc. Get involved, peeps. Grassroots football needs your help. It's one of them was we got 3 teams there that we just mentioned in the grassroots segment that need help, whether it be players or whether it be financially in Hitchin Town's case. So we've got to get on it. We got to get on the case. All good, all good. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is actually time for us to move on again, because the final segment of the show is going to be
Stuff of the week.
Yeah. La da da la da la da la da. It's Monday night, and this is Pitch Talk. Hash PT Live. Let's get that trending. We're live on YouTube. Last segment of the show. Still having fun. Why? Because it's Monday night. And this is Pitch Talk. Let's roll into stuff of the week. Let's take goal of the week first. Goal of the week. Philippe Coutinho on a very, very honourable mention, and joint with Tony Duggan. Those 2 goals, absolute belters. And JBK, don't even try it. But Coutinho and Duggan, I'm not even going to try and pick between them. Philippe Coutinho, Tony Duggan, brilliant goals. G-Man, who are you going for? Goal of the week.
I'm going to like you for Coutinho's goal, because that's the after your
exploits whilst doing the updates. I had to have a sneaky look on Twitter, and it was exceptional.
Oh, the goal was fantastic.
No, the goal was exceptional, but so was your tweet.
Well, yeah, it was what? Oh, that one, yeah. Rhombus. Yeah, anyway. Can't say that on there. Ryan Sonley, who you going for? Goal of the week?
Well, my goal of the week for this week is Coutinho with an honourable mention to Greg Wild scoring a great volley from Jake Jarvis's cross on the volley from a very acute angle.
Good shout. Let's go for Russ Vernon. You got your goal of the week?
Yes, Liam, honourable mention to Philip Coutinho, but for me, Antonucci, baby. Oh, Antonucci, whoa.
Now, you know what, yeah? Good Lord. You know what? It is one of them ones. You said a certain thing to my singing earlier. I got to say, Russ, to that singing.
-5 stars. -5 stars.
Had to do that one. Let's go Mike Harniman, goal of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Coutinho goal as well, but I'm also going to give an honourable mention to Ross Barkley and his finish as well, or Barkley, sorry.
Good shout. Very, very good shout. Jamie Bailey, you got your mic on?
I do.
Goal of the week, man. What's you? Yeah, go for your goal of the week.
I should be saying it. The second goal for West Ham, but I'm not going to. Considering that I've already.
So who are you going for then? We gotta go. Who are you going for?
I know his second name, but I don't know his first name. It's Dak. He scored for Gillingham on Saturday.
Yeah. Nah, good shout. That is a very good shout, actually. Kenny, you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Who you going for? Goal of the week.
I have to go with Aston at Ellen Road against Burnley.
It was
great shot with his weak. I believe it was his weak foot. Well, it looked like his weak foot anyway, but he managed to curl it for about 20 yards. Like I said, so that was a goal of the week for me.
Good shout. That is a great shout. Let's go for player of the week. G-Man, who you going for? Player of the week.
Player of the week. Player of the week.
It's a tough one this week, isn't it?
It's a tough one. Send it out there and get back to me.
All right. In terms of player of the week, I am going to go honourable mention to Eniola Aluko, but Frank Kirby scoring on her debut for Chelsea. So Frank Kirby, but honourable mention to Eniola Aluko.
You know what? I'm going to keep it simple because it's a match that I watched. I am going to go for Adrian for West Ham. I thought he had a terrific game, and I think without him in goal, with him in goal, he kept West Ham at Arsenal at bay.
Great shout. Mike Harniman, who are you going for? Player of the week.
I'm going to take a player from the same game. For any 16-year-old to be able to do that is incredible, really. So Reece Oxford.
Good shout. Very good shout. Jamie Bailey, player of the week. No, where's Jamie? All right, we'll have to come back to him. Russ Vernon, player of the week.
For me, we'll mention to Reece Oxford, but for me, the captain at Leeds United, Mr. Sol Bamba, fantastic performance and man of the match from Sky as well.
Good shout. Ryan Sonley, who are you going for? Player of the week.
Honourable mention to Reece Oxford and another honourable mention to Dale Fry making his debut in a big game.
But who are you going for?
Reece Oxford.
Cool. It's all good. Kenny, who are you going for? Player of the week.
I think it's one of those adages like you should never act with children and animals. So I'm going to go for Dimitri Payet, who basically controlled the midfield and was the real man of the match yesterday at the Emirates for West Ham United.
Good shout. No, that's a good shout. Jamie Bailey, you got your player of the week?
Yeah, it's Slaven Bilic. You know what the funny thing is? He actually said that his team were going to be ready to play Arsenal, I think 5 weeks ago. And look at what they've gone and done.
Yeah, no, fair. That is definitely fair. Let's go team of the week. Team of the week, I am gonna go honorable mention to Leicester City. I'm gonna go Swansea. Very much not only for holding Chelsea, but very much frustrating them and frustrating the hell out of everybody's favorite arrogant. Anyway, I can't say that on there, Jose Mourinho. But it's one of them ones. I'm going Swansea City. I'm going Swansea City with honourable mention to Leicester City. G-Man, who you going for? Team of the week?
Team of the week was pretty honourable mention to Crystal Palace and also Leicester, but it's pretty hard to look past West Ham, to be honest.
Good shout. Russ Vernon, team of the week.
For me, Liam, I'm going to give an honourable mention to West Ham United. But for me, it's going to be Leeds United for the way we played against Burnley, and for tonight, for our fans and all the players who was involved in the 21 games. And in best wishes to Hitchin Town's Monty Patterson, who went off with what looks like to be a broken ankle and a broken leg in tonight's under 21 game against Leeds, which Ipswich won 2-1.
I heard that. Jamie Bailey, who are you going for team of the week?
MK Dons. Went up to Rotherham. First time in the next league, and pretty much demolished what MK Dons has been. What Rotherham was done for.
They were murking the place. Ryan, who you going for team of the week?
Honourable mention to Leicester, but I'm going to give it to my hometown team, Plymouth Argyle, for winning for the first time away from home since 2011.
Good shout. Mike Harniman, who you going for team of the week?
Honourable mention to both West Ham and Notts County, but my team of the week is going to be Hitchin Town this week.
No, fair dues. Very, very much fair dues. Kenny, who you going for team of the week?
I'm going for Manchester City because it's quite a comprehensive performance today, where they basically ripped West Bromwich Albion apart, and I thought it was an excellent debut by Raheem Sterling. He definitely looked the part. He kept on getting behind and looked very dangerous. Obviously, the main man, Yaya Toure, is back in form. I'm sure the Man City director sent him a birthday card. That's probably why he played well today.
Give him a cake as well.
Seriously, if you want to make a statement, the Man City made that. Watch out for Man City for the league. Put your money on Man City.
That's a very interesting show. I'm going to need to watch that match now. Let's go for flop of the week. Wayne Schumann has already said Arsenal was his flop of the week. Who are you going for, G-Man?
Everybody in this chat who hasn't joined our Pitch Talk Fantasy Football Super League.
Oh, Lordy. I was tempted to go everyone who hasn't sent in a question for Pitch Talk meets Darrell David, but that would be a bit harsh. Remember to get your questions in. Wednesday is the deadline. But as for me, flop of the week, I'm going to go Jose Mourinho. Shooting his mouth off once again. And it's one of them was trying to blame his medical staff just to deflect attention again, him being the master of deflection. The fact of the matter is, whenever I hear Jose Mourinho on an interview, I tend to turn it off nowadays because all I can think of whenever I hear Mourinho whinging, all I can think of is this.
If I want any crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
Because his rants and his whinging is always
-5 stars.
Because that's all he ever does is just whinge. But it is one of them ones. Russ Vernon, who's your flop of the week?
For me, Liam, honourable mention to Rotherham. But for me, sorry G-Man, sorry JBK, sorry Wayne, and sorry Mike and Kenny, it's Arsenal.
Libbies. Mike, who are you going for flop of the week?
I can take a pick from one of two, really, can't I? So probably both. I'm just going to give them to both. So both Stevenage and Arsenal for the below performances at the weekend. On a player's note as well, I want to give it to Courtois of Chelsea.
Fair. That's fair.
Alongside those two. Yeah.
That's fair. Ryan Sonley, flop of the week. Who are you going for?
Arsenal.
JBK, who are you going for?
I'm actually going to go with Watford because I felt disappointed by my team's, the club's performance when going ahead.
That's
Forget about what Arsenal did. The rest, I think that was. I think we should have actually won the game at least 2-1.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one actually. A little harsh in my view, but hey, it's one of them ones. And you know what? The round out, Kenny, who you going for? Flop of the week?
I'm going to have to go for the 42.5 million man, Mesut Ozil. Again, when it came to the fight, instead of him turning up, showing a bit of grit, he went out in disguise and went in the lifeboats with the women and the children. I did. So I'm going to get off rope. When Ozil gives me 8 out of 10 performances, I will get off his case.
when he gives you 8 out of 10 performances
on a consistent basis.
On a consistent basis, instead of
-5 stars
performances, then you'll get off his back. I love that. You know what? One other thing I do love is the fact. Actually, I don't love that. We come to the end of the show. I don't love that. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is time for us to start vacating the place with a haste. It's always the hardest part because I always feel like Michael Jackson. Never can say goodbye. Not any other way feeling like Michael Jackson. Whoa, let's not go down that way. But
it's the big show.
Hi, I'm John sitting there with Gavin, Liam and Joe on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Russ Vernon, Christian 42.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Samir Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
You never know.
You always know where, man. And I promise you'll know, because it's Pitch Talk. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting out the G-Man and Joseph Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions, because the pitch is where we eat. The pitch is where we eat. Where is the G-Man?
The pitch is where we sleep. Sorry.
And the pitch is where we talk. Just disappeared. Oh my. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. Find out about everything Pitch Talk on our official website. Also, youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of our latest videos. Remember, we will be filming towards the end of this week. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. So get your questions in. Wednesday midnight is the cutoff point for questions for Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. So get your questions in as soon as possible. pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the latest blogs. Blogs including ones by yours truly, Straight Shooting Out Day, the G-Man, Jezzy Fizzle, and many, many others. The G-Man will start blogging as well. And also, we had a new segment debuting tonight, a fortnightly segment, rounding up the London teams, and that's from Kenny and Yusuf. Big time shout outs to them. It is one of them was at Yusuf J on Twitter, and especially at Kenny Ken 1972 on Twitter as well. It's one of them was give them a follow. Give them a follow on Twitter. Tell them we sent you for the London teams roundup. Also at LFS_live on Twitter as well. Give them a follow. You know, it is one of them. It's facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become family, become member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We are working so hard to create. Oh yeah, 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you text, leave your name at the end of the text. Pitch Talk 1 is us on Skype as well. At Pitch Talk on Twitter, twitter.com/Pitch Talk. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. We are Pitch Talk Live on Google+. We're on Instagram at Pitch Talk as well. You know what? We are here every Monday night live. YouTube.com/Pitch Talk Live. We also podcast on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio. Jump over there. Give us a comment, give us a like, give us a rating. Hey, it's one of them ones. It all helps on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio. Give us a like, give us a comment. It's one of them ones. Give us a rating. It all helps. You know what? To round out, big shout out to Paul Wellington 7, who has said it's like they pull out the games, put all the games into a hat and pick them out one at a time. When will they learn Channel 5 can't do highlights? That was in relation to our debate earlier about the about Football League Tonight. Check that out on the podcast. We also leave the podcast up on youtube.com/pitch talk as well. You know, big shout outs to Girls on the Ball. Big shout outs to Tom Wood as well, who we met down in Wembley Way as well. Big shout outs to Stevie B, aka Stevie 00 Ballard. Big shout outs to Ryan Sonley, to Brad Hicks, to Russ Vernon, to Jamie Bailey, to Mike Harniman, to Mr. Kenny Ken as well. And so many shout outs, so little time. Big shout outs to Ibis Football Club, Hackney Wick FC, Two Men in Search of the Beautiful Game, Hitchin Town FC as well. You know what? I have been straight shooting LJA. And the G-Man.
And I've been the G-Man.
I was going to say the G-Man's here somewhere. But we'd like to say thank you very much, everyone. Good night.